Thank you for joining us for the news. In our first story, we'll bring you highlights about experiences of various residents of the capital, Accra, following hours of rains. And there had been reports that sectional areas and suburbs in the capital had been flooded as a result of hours of rains. We'll be speaking to the Ghana Meteorological Agency and then also get the latest on the weather pattern and what the ordinary Ghanaian, especially residents in the capital, should be expecting. We already do have Papa Ni Clerk, the PRO for the Ghana Meteo Agency. Good morning to you, sir. What had been your own observations based on what you've been monitoring over the period since it's been raining for a lot of hours?
Good morning to you, cherished listeners and the viewers. Let me say that we started monitoring the weather from 6 p.m. yesterday, and what we observed was that there was an active storm that emanated from the eastern portions of Nigeria around 2 a.m. and that was what swept across the country. The east coast, the west coast, the middle portions of the country all experienced torrential rainfall. There are areas that received intermittent to moderate rainfall, and as I speak now, we are still under the rain.
So what does it mean based on what you monitored from 6 p.m. on Tuesday evening could be the pattern following even all these hours of rains from this morning?
Yeah, we are still in the raining season, and these are some of the things that we have to expect. We'll be expecting more of the rains even as we have entered June, spreading through July. This will be the pattern of the rain. And let me also say that we have a 3-day cycle, we have 5-day cycle, and then we have 7-day cycle. So as we monitor the weather, what we will observe, we will let the public know. But for today, the system is still active, even though the rains have subsided a bit. But then we will still be under the rains. And then for today, the rain will because of the rainfall, we will experience some cloudiness. Temperatures will not be too high. Getting to the afternoon, it will give way to sunny periods, and then for the northern portions of the country, they will also experience some slight rain getting to the evening.
Yesterday, your forecast in the afternoon did indicate that it will be cloudy. Why was that? That ultimately by the wee hours into the evening, we had to experience some rains?
Yeah, it is clouds that produce rain. And in as much as you have moisture, enough moisture in the cloud, and then your temperatures are low, and then your pressure too is low. If you have any system, what it means is that the system is conducive, so we will experience rain. And as I said early on, you realize that the rain we experienced was not a localized rain, but it is rain that emanated from Nigeria.
Now, what should be the caution for inhabitants or residents of the capital?
Previously, you will observe that before Accra will be flooded, it is only when we have about 80 millimeters of rainfall, that is when we experience floods. But in recent time, just 30 millimeters of rain, Accra is flooded. So what I will ask of residents is that we shouldn't throw garbage into our gutters. The drains should be expanded. Our gutters are too small, and then if we throw plastic waste into the gutters, it doesn't allow the rain to flow. So we want to ask citizenry that don't throw rubbish into the gutters. Those who bathe in waterways are being advised not to do that, because if you bathe in the waterway, the water does not get the space to move, to flow. So it is advisable you don't bathe in waterways. And then when it is also raining, people are fond of just walking through the flood waters. It is also advised that don't walk through the flood waters. And those who also walk under big trees, there are some trees whose branches are not strong enough, and if it is windy, the branches can fall off, and then you'll be hit. So it is also advised not to do so.
Well, thank you very much. Within the latter part of the morning, we'll call you once again and get the latest update, and possibly we can have a Zoom interaction with you to get all the latest insight into what residents of the capital need to look forward to the rest of the day following hours of rains over the period. Now, before even the rains, there had been a number of observations in the capital, and a drive-through Accra showed many people do not wear nose masks, even as Ghana's coronavirus case count hits almost 10,000. There are concerns that many are beginning to show little or no interest in observing the protocols outlined by the Ghana Health Service to halt the spread. Nancy Amafajradosi has been engaging some Ghanaians who have refused to wear nose masks.
3 months since Ghana recorded its first 2 cases of COVID-19, and already our figures are hitting nearly 10,000. Many have questioned why our figures are rising astronomically when we are constantly being reminded to observe the COVID-19 protocols.
As we drove through town, the news team observed that out of every 3 persons that walked by, at least one was without a face mask. The worst culprits are the commercial vehicles. The news team stationed at the Paloma bus stop first, and largely, conductors were without mask. Those that wore the mask had them right under their chin. I managed to stop this commercial vehicle after realizing both the driver and conductor were without them.
Oh, Monsieur, by Cecilia, Madame Huana, me too. Because now, I went to me passe. No, passing behind passengers woman, I'm now I'm a year to mutual you 10 and me too.
The conductor told me he's unable to properly shout when calling out potential passengers.
Also, me paisana, a shamano sana, mean to me in pie, or be anti me, can't tell at times, and me yet to. Oh, now, some for say me pie really, I'm a shit. Let me Jim Ski, I'm a shit. But Shamano say then I'm a pirate, I'm eat to
Many people who were also on their bikes did not have mask on. Even when we stopped him, he refused to wear his mask, which he had hung on his bike. His reason is simple.
Yes, you are protected right now, and the purpose of the nose mask is for me, maybe not to transfer in case I'm even infected, or not to contract. But since you are wearing, you are protecting myself and yourself. So when I'm entering a crowd, I just put on my nose mask.
As we moved closer to Circle, the number of people we met without mask was increasing. This man, Mohammed, is among the many that believes the virus is a myth until he sees it.
Mommy, come, let's stop deceiving each other. Let's just be realistic. At least out of the 1,000 or 10,000 people that Nigeria has, why can't we identify one single one as a friend? That's it. And every day they keep telling us the number keep increasing. Then they'll say that it takes 20, 80. Why can't you then show us a single person that has it? If you have fever now, they'll say you have corona. No, mistakenly you first see they say it's corona. People are dying of hunger and they'll say it's corona. Let's just be realistic. Let's say the truth.
The crew moved towards the tiptoe lane. People were sitting less than a meter apart and without mask. They would not speak to us, but only told us they were tired. The bus conductors I saw here will only point to where their masks are and smile. Are we headed for more trouble? Maybe wearing that mask will save us that trouble.
Oh, great question there. We also decided to send to town Henry Kwesi Bedu to find out if residents in other sections of the capital were also obeying the instructions.
Wearing quality and clean face mask is a global public health recommendation to halt the spread of the coronavirus. The mask is supposed to cover the mouth and the nose. At the Kwame Nkrumah Circle here in Accra, where thousands mill to and fro daily, people are seen with their nose mask covering their chin. Some of the masks dangle from one ear to another, while others rest around the neck. That is 30-year-old Foster Bafo, a bread seller, trying to get the attention of potential buyers. He says it is difficult to call out potential clients with his mask covering the nose and mouth.
It's down because I'm shouting A1, and if it's on, when I shout, they don't hear the A1 properly. That's why I put it down for me to shout for them to hear A1. Okay.
Same applied to young Chocho conductor Bernard Kweku. Bernard says communicating with passengers is difficult anytime he wears a mask.
At time when I'm trying to call a customer on the roadside, if the mask is on, the customer cannot hear me. At time I push it down to call the customer. After that, then I put it on. No, it's not about the name. At least like circle. It depends on where the person is standing. You see, if the person will not hear my voice to come. So if I take it at least circle, you can hear me. Okay. You see that's why I pull it.
According to Akins Bempo, who works with a telecommunication company, there is so much heat around his face when he wears the mask, adding, it is very uncomfortable.
I remove it because sometimes when I wear it, I don't feel comfortable. Yeah, like when I'm wearing it, as if I'm sweating, like I feel a sort of sweat on me, yes. I find it difficult in breathing so much because sometimes it tightens your nose. So at least 30 minutes time, you have to remove it so that you can breathe a little. Yeah.
Although some know the risk of not wearing the face mask, they still do not wear it.
I'm aware if I pull it down, I'll be able to contract the virus. But because I need to shout for my customers to hear, that's why I pull it down.
Face mask or chin mask, fresh air or coronavirus, your choice. Henry Kwesi Bedu's report. Join us.
Well, moving away from the subject, a mother battling coronavirus, and this is at the intensive care unit of the Elwak Isolation and Treatment Center, has opened up to Joy News. The middle-aged woman is now on a ventilator, but says she hopes to recover quickly so she could be with her daughter again. Beryl Ernestina Richter, who was granted exclusive access to the ICU, filed the following report.
Intensive care units form a critical component of the management and care of severely ill patients at any COVID-19 facility. Since the outbreak of the disease in Ghana, there have been concerns by various healthcare stakeholders about the capacity of the various COVID-19 isolation and treatment centers to manage severely ill and critical patients due to the inadequate number of ventilators the country has. Major Matthias Yeli Ahig is Deputy Commandant at the Elwak COVID Center. He tells me the facility is well equipped to handle such cases.
This is where we keep patients who are having or who are in a critical condition. We give them extra care, and if there's a need for us to put them on ventilators or any other sensitive equipment, this is where we give that extra care. And the good news is that the place has not been full to capacity since we started operating.
Since the outbreak of the disease, 19 persons with COVID-19 who also have various underlying health conditions have died at some of the treatment centers in Accra, according to official figures. But here at the center, Major Matthias Yeli Ahig says since its establishment, the center has recorded no death.
It's one of the enviable records that we have achieved since we established or opened the center. We've not lost a patient, and we continue to pray that that will never happen. This is due to the hard work, dedicated service, and above all, the blessings of the Almighty God that is making us to get some of these successes. And we pray that we never have any such case. That is our prayer.
On our tour of the facility, the Joy News team is granted access to interview the only patient at the ICU whom we are told is on a ventilator. This middle-aged woman, whom I choose to call Amasewa, is hypertensive. She manages to open up to us on events, which led to her admission here.
It wasn't easy, but I took it as it is. I gave everything to God. Sometimes you cough with stains of blood. That was me. I was having BP, so I thought it was just BP. So when I came to 37 Regional Hospital, I didn't know when I even came there. So about 4 days ago that I realized I was in hospital. So sometimes when I cough, I use a tissue and then there's a sense of blood. So they send the sample to this thing and they detected that it was the COVID-19.
According to her, news of her status came as a surprise to her, but the support from family gave her strength to survive the days ahead.
I was praying that God, the will of God should come true. But no, it was. The doctor came with my husband to explain to me that it was positive, so I should come down here. He encouraged me that it shall be well. That's what he told me, that I will come back. I'll come back home. Thank God. That God will help me.
Because of Ama's condition, she is confined to the room where she is receiving critical care and treatment from staff at the center. It is the wish of patients on admission to have their family visit and interact with them. But this is not possible with people infected with COVID-19 who are in the various isolation and treatment centers. As a mother, Amasewa misses her family and desires to be with her adolescent daughter.
My problem is my little child, 12 years. She's now heading towards the adolescent age. This is the time she needs mother. That's my only problem.
The coming days would be crucial for Amasewa's recovery, and if she is discharged soon, she would have to brace herself for the stigma out there endured by many who have also recovered.
That will not be a problem. If I'm only hurt and you call me this stigmatization, I don't care. I'm America. I only want to go and work and take care of my family.
Persons with COVID-19 like Amasewa in the intensive care units at the various isolation and treatment centers would require more than hospital care to be out of the woods so they can be discharged and go back to their families. And this is exactly what frontline healthcare workers are providing at this facility. Beryl Ernestina Richter's report for Joy News.
The Deputy Minister of Defense, Major Derek Oduro, retired, says contact tracing and mass testing for coronavirus have ensured that gradually Ghana is making progress in the fight against the pandemic. He was speaking during the launch of the Ghana Armed Forces Zoomlion disinfection of all military barracks, schools, churches, mosques and other facilities of the service.
The launch of the disinfection and fumigation exercise brought together senior members of the military, members of staff of the military schools at Bema Camp, civilian employees of the Ghana Armed Forces, and more. Chief Operations Officer and Managing Director of Zoomlion, Florence Labi, says the disinfectant used is effective within 10 to 60 minutes of contact time.
Drawing from our several years of experience in environmental management, we are here today to launch the nationwide disinfection of military installations, including schools, barracks, and offices. This exercise is aimed at disinfecting to rid all the facilities of bacteria and other disease-causing vectors. During our disinfection exercises, we use disinfectants that are chlorine-based, containing sodium hypochlorite. This is effective within 10 to 60 minutes of contact time and is widely available and recommended by the World Health Organization for surface disinfection as part of infection prevention. Chlorine-based solutions are safe and used for water treatment, for example, in swimming pools. This chlorine-based disinfectant is most effective in killing bacteria, fungi, and viruses, including influenza virus.
Deputy Defense Minister Major Retired Derek Odro says tough measures put in place by government is yielding positive results in the fight against COVID-19.
Subsidy of water and electricity bills, financial relief to SMEs, tax exemptions for health workers, provision of adequate PPEs for health institutions, provision of additional facilities for testing for the virus, fumigation of schools, cleaning and disinfection of markets, and the clearing of filth from drainages, among others. These measures and the rapid implementation of contact tracing and mass testing for the virus have ensured that gradually our country is achieving positive results in the fight against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, and which has been internationally acclaimed and commended widely. The personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces, together with other sister security agencies, have continued to partner the Ghana Health Services in the front line to fight against this pandemic, and in so doing, are faced with the danger of contracting the disease. Your exceptional vigilance and diligence in ensuring that the protocols and restrictions outlined by the President were obeyed, even at the danger of your own lives, is commendable. I must, however, caution that the exercise alone cannot be the panacea to the spread of the virus if we do not play our part to stop it.
The exercise, supervised by Zoom Lion, will see all barracks, schools, offices, churches, and other facilities disinfected, all in a bid to help protect personnel of the military and their family members from the virus.
Well, that's it, latest news headlines. But we do have more news as we look at the latest news headlines on the front pages of the newspapers. We have a number of them in the studio. But again, if you have to drive into the capital or you're elsewhere across Ghana where it's raining, make sure you drive or tread cautiously. We're taking a break. When we come back, myself, Gifty Apia, and today we'll be joined by Manasseh Azure Awene for the review. Well, so we have to do a review of the newspapers, and let me just add these to you. How are you? Gifty?
Waiting for you to introduce me.
Yeah, I just did.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I trust that you're doing well. It's raining. Roland, it's good to see you once again.
Yes.
It's raining.
Unfortunately, today I forgot my marks, so.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Then let me remove mine so that, I don't know, I'm protecting you with mine. So it's a good morning. I hope that you're having a very good one.
There's a new one we have around here. I'll try and see whether I can get one of those new ones, the branded ones.
Well,
but please go ahead.
Mine is by Sedmens. Sedmens, thank you very much for this mask, Mr. Mens. Fred Smith has been sharing it all over in the newsroom, so we're grateful. And I'm here to help Roland Walker to run the show for the next, 2 hours and a few minutes.
I'm still doing this help. You and I are doing the thing. But it's been raining. I mean, it has been raining. It's an experience that we always think is, or know is torrid, because we're never free in the capital.
Okay, shall I go ahead?
Yes, please. Sir.
Okay. Well, Manasseh Azuria, winning investigative journalist, is also joining us for the review of the newspapers. Hi, Manasseh.
Manasseh, good morning.
Good morning, Roland and Gifty.
Thank
Manasseh,
you.
where is your bookshelf?
No, he's not Joseph.
I'm not an intellectual, so...
I love that. I love that.
Okay.
It is intellectuals who almost always have a
bookshelf.
Bookshelves behind them.
Okay.
Okay. Our regards to your wife. I got
We'll tell Evans, Kojo Jackson, and then Kofi Akable, yeah? Joseph Akable.
Those were the bookshelves.
These are your words.
But as for Akable, I can vouch that he reads.
I know, right?
The rest, I cannot vouch for them.
Okay.
Yes, maybe for decoration.
Decoration is on your bad. Manasseh, it's good to have you this morning. Thank you. And my regards to your wife. I got some of her flowers. They're beautiful. So say hi to her for me.
Shall we hear?
So Ghanaian Times newspaper is what I want to start with. I have... sorry, Manasseh should start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It's okay. It's okay. Pardon me for that. So, Manasseh...
Well, the Ghanaian Times has on its front page, the main story says 50 million Ghana cedis soft loan for 5,000 startups. And we also have military launches nationwide fumigation exercise of all its facilities. And then we have a story that Customs Division busts illicit drug smuggling syndicate at Aplau. A story Joy News carried extensively on radio and TV yesterday.
Continue with the dispatch. You have the dispatch too, I'm told. Just do the headlines and we'll see how it goes.
Yes, the dispatch says, its main story says the legal battle for new voter register. EC submits legal basis for new register to Supreme Court. It also has how Akufo-Addo's possible loss of 400,000 votes has been avoided.
I see.
That's it? Do you have the back page, Manasseh?
No.
Yes,
okay.
I think it has something to do. Colin Powell has drifted away from the Constitution. And the back page has a story that says nationwide disinfection of military facilities. I think this is carried in the Ghanaian Times as well. That's the main story on the back page of the Daily Dispatch.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Well, let me do the Finder and the Daily Guide, and then when we're done, Gifty will do the Daily Graphic and then the Statesman.
Yeah, right.
Well, on the front page of the Finder, we have 50 million Ghana cedis for 5,000 startups and third window of presidential business support. That's coming from Dr. Wow. And very soon we'll have an interaction with the chief executive for NIPE and try to get some of those details as well, John Kuma. And we promise to do that in the coming day or two. Other stories we have on the front page of the Finder: 331 contestants chase 165 MPP seats, of which 65 are unopposed. I know Manasseh had intended vying for one of those seats. It was not possible. He's going to deny it abruptly. Serious. Okay, Ghana's...
Thank God you've denied for me.
Yes, I have. Rejoined us straight. Ghana's COVID-19 case count hits 9,910 with 48 deaths. And then we have to put it into perspective. The active cases then would have to take a look at, because we have to do the deductions of some 3,345 of the recoveries, the fatalities, and then we'll have to come to the conclusion. Our death toll now is 48, we're told. Okay, let's go to the Daily Guide. Has on the front page, MPP clamps down on cases. And we know this has been cut from that interaction with the press conference to announce how the primaries will be convened by the MPP, by the party's general secretary. He addressed that press conference, JB John Buedu. We also do have mayhem at killer landlord trial. Has an inserted picture of Victor Steve Nana Kankam. Up there, we have venture capital, 42 million Ghana cedi loot, court bounces agreement. And we know that yesterday, Mr. Duku had put in some restitution to plow back into state coffers some 15 million. It looks like the contest matter. Nationwide military facilities disinfection begins. On the back page, which you may not have, it's a story about Raheem Sterling saying the only disease now is racism. And we know that Manasseh and Gifty, in solidarity with the George Floyd Black Lives Matter protests all across the world. And then we have other stories. Okay.
Right.
And there's a story on the back page, though, which apparently says that Obinim was better than me. Kotoko legend confesses. And that's Stephen Odro, apparently used to play football with Bishop Daniel Obinim. Well, we'll take you to Odona as well and look at the flood situation there.
Okay.
We'll try and get the okay, so yeah, so we straight away we'll have to take you to Odona.
So we're taking a quick pause on the newspapers.
No, so yes, we'll do that while we get all the pictures available.
Okay.
Just do the daily graphic, and then when we get all those live interactions, we'll quickly. Okay, so these are the interactions gifted.
Okay, so these are live visuals coming to you from Odona during the rains. You can see that it's flooded, terribly flooded, and
in Accra after a heavy It's 4:30 in Accra after a heavy downpour, and the new normal is here again with us. The flood had been something that we witness anytime it rains in Accra, and properties are lost. This morning we are here close to the Odona, and you could see from the background that it is just flooding. People living here have lost many of their properties, including those living in Aveno.
At once now we go see the place full up with water. So please, we are suffering too much. See the environment, every place to sell. No, please, can do something to it.
Where do you sleep?
Please, we sleep at the overhead under. The overhead under here. So please.
So the chassis be two more no. Two more so starting a freeze. Starting almost a freeze St. John's. And about the buy now about Beira and about Drew Hanamo. Say, no, here crown and so dear. They're doing a swat crown or no. The time I'm better so dear. And so that's swatting or no.
More high, more secretary. We say a dear Japadia, and as I see, and a much high.
Oh, here I turn your man over hand on dear. In so near no. A fire near my baby cock. And near my need that so I know near here near Mano. So now for Nina, Contesi and Yanni does so be a to say be a basso or mobile between the Aboya and also here. No, they are twice to be able to say, Gatana in more sister dear. And so Baba, no what tin in a mumma come fair said ye. I am far, I would tell so Emma or my Ghana, yeah, walk crowd also. Yes, so your home better.
And Jane wouldn't know you, baby, as a dear now showing you.
Ah, you saw them, Mrs. Sian, and never been a mirror. Me say so na fa me niam na ekono de aka no me bo ho ban tina me gina so mu hasesia
de wan na aka jisia wo bo ho ban
say me so hwe so me niam so nie ana nso no abono nso na yira fa sa niam we nyina wa hanom na bisa gina ha
oh I had na the meda office ya nti ana me nua no ba say me sorry ana me say da o sin to na me nua ben ne wa afede de ebe hu say nso na start fiase ana eba nti no ayade aye wa anya we ni first we come 3 times ni na me fan say 9 years pepe ni na 3 times ni we nso efa wa nti ni de If I say, I did 2 and 100 no, you need to be a car. You need to be a car found. They met my car found one as a macan.
No, yeah, for sure.
I will give a VIP or VIP station. VIP station.
Jesse,
I will see.
Young Boko.
VIP hot.
VIP station. VIP, I am up Jesse Kwaswana, that's in and packet. Jesus Christ.
What do you
Well, the distraction of the rains just some hours ago. It's still drizzling, if not raining, in some parts of the capital.
And you want to be careful out there.
Yeah.
You certainly want to. We had to bring you that one quickly so that you can have an idea what town looks like. So when you're stepping out, you're advised and you know what's the right thing to do. I mean, these floods, they're with us. They always come. I don't know when they're going away, but you can stay safe and you can stay away from it, right, Roland?
Okay. According to Papa Nick Clegg, the PRO for the Meteo Agency, who we first spoke to as we began the show, it used to take about an hour for you to have the inhabitant at the end of the channel of the door, especially to have or experience flooding. Now it takes just about 30 minutes for you to experience it.
So 30 minutes is even a lot for me, I think, anyway. So Daily Graphic newspaper is reporting that government is to train 26,000 entrepreneurs. It comes with a photo of Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim Awal, who launched the Presidential Business Support. And Presidential Business Support, we're also looking at the media as well. Arba Kumsin's documentary yesterday highlighted the problems that the media is facing because of COVID-19. So it's an interesting thing that's happening. 50 million Ghana cedis earmarked for this program. We're coming for ours. The story is by Kester Abram Crunchy. And it says the government has started the process to train 26 young entrepreneurs. Across the country under the third phase of the Presidential Business Support Program. Take a look at that newspaper, the Daily Graphic. And then the NPP parliamentary primaries, 374 battle for 101 slots, 65 go on a post, 3 on hold. All of that is on page 3. Yesterday, you had the General Secretary of the NPP, John Boyd, to describe those who are cursing, the behavior of those who are cursing as crass and crude. Very interesting thoughts there. He's also on the paper. And courts rejects Duku's move to pay 15 million cedis. That story is on page 16. I turn to the back page of the newspaper. A Daily Graphic newspaper says rainstorm destroys Sakasaka Primary School block in Tamale, and community engagement proceeds landfill decommissioning. We brought you that story here on Joy News. A quick look at the center spread, and then we'll ask Manasseh to give us his pick, and we'll have a quick discussion on that. The center spread says graphic rolls out themed days for 70th anniversary. Move away from flood-prone areas. Now that story is according to NADMO. NADMO advising residents to move away from flood-prone areas by Julius Echasafo. She did that yesterday, and we've just seen what happened at the Odona. Institutions stick to online academic programs despite the ease in restrictions. It comes with a picture of the University of Ghana, and they have stories of what's happening on UPSA campus, what's happening on KNUST campus, what's happening at GIMPA, and what's happening at the University of Ghana. So this is it for the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let me end with the Daily Statesman. The Daily Statesman banner headline, no room for indiscipline, with an exclamation sign. NPP orders suspension of, quote, dissidents, outlines primaries modalities. EC must remove 7 million names without new register. Let my votes count. Alliance is saying that. And on the back page, Raheem Sterling speaks out on racism following the death of George Floyd. And okay, I don't know this name. Roland, what's that name? Seeks to acquire Daniel Amate on loan. It's a football club, right? Go step.
Got it.
Are you sure?
Very much so.
Okay.
Play football. Until you can't wait now. Challenge it. You lie English.
Okay, that's the Statesman. Let me see if there's anything new in the center spread of that paper. Okay. Manasseh, are you ready to give us your pick so we'll have a quick conversation on it? Hi, Manasseh. Okay. The center spread says petroleum consumer. Okay. Government recovers just 0.3% of its loans to SOEs. That's what it was reported yesterday. Bank of Ghana digital currency still under consideration, says Deputy Governor. So that's it for the Daily Graphic and the Daily Statesman. Manasseh.
Which one is your pick?
My pick is the 50 million for the 5,000 startups as contained in on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. That the presidential business support the third window. And I think this comes in handy, especially because of this COVID and its impact on small businesses. So I think it is good, but the question has always been how they are going to do it. That's my main worry. And this should be the worry of Ghanaians who know how our leaders do things, especially this being an election year. We may need to play the devil's advocate and find out whether some connections or party cards may be needed to access this particular funding that is available. And I listened to something Bernard Avles said in that documentary produced by Araba Kumsin, and I think it makes a lot of sense that instead of always doling out cash, we can also try to make it possible that certain taxes that these startups and companies are supposed to pay will be reduced. And my brother also made a point the other day that if you look at the lending rates, the loans we take from banks, the interest is so high that if government can, through the central bank, reduce some of the risk so that if a loan is, you take a loan and you're paying about 30%, 28% interest, and it now comes down to, let's say, 15 or 14% interest, people can still go and take the loans. They'll be able to do what they're supposed to do. They will spend, and the economy will be boosted without the government necessarily having to dole out money, which may not benefit everybody. So I think there are a number of interventions that can be looked at from this angle, instead of just giving out money, which may end up in the wrong pockets, as we know very well in this country.
But Manasseh, you know that there are processes for the call for the application. So once those processes are followed through, then it means that, well, in a way, it's been formalized.
Oh, that's very automatic.
We've always had processes in Ghana, and I'm very familiar with the procurement law, but almost every contract that even goes through the procurement process is circumvented in a way. So I have come to lose faith in the processes. I have come to lose faith in even the laws or the implementation. But if there's a way it can be done so that there wouldn't be the direct intervention of the politician at this critical moment, like the loans, whatever I'm talking about, if it is the interest rate is brought so low, if your business is struggling, you can go for it. You don't need any politician to come in for you. You don't need any chief or any influential person to come in and perhaps discriminate against someone else. But if you have the opportunity to present your documents to the bank and they are convinced, everybody can benefit without necessarily having to know somebody or going through these processes that can be extremely problematic in an election year.
Well, processes don't necessarily, we've seen in many instances where processes don't necessarily work in this country. So maybe we'll be able to do something better with this one and try to, but it's difficult for me to to think, actually, that you'll have a politician give something and not have politicians being involved. I don't know. I don't know where that happens. But anyway, let's hope for the best.
Well, and we have to do myjoyonline.com straight away.
Okay. Let's take a look at myjoyonline.com. All right, so there it is. The floods making its way to our top story. Parts of Accra flooded after Tuesday's downpour. And yeah, people are going to walk through water. We're going to have the same things. You take the script from 5 years ago, you bring it today, and you see that you're talking about the same story. In fact, the script will fit. That's terrible. Government in eroding NDC's gains in oil and gas sector. That's according to Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, spoke to Evans Mensah. And Ghana's COVID-19 case count near 10,000 as 4 more die. NHIA card holders still on voters register. EC admits as it begs Supreme Court for a chance to obey 2016 order, and Shroud throws out vote buying and corruption allegations against John Mahama, former president. A fear of the unknown. Many young people develop COVID-19 related mental illness in the Ashanti region. Finally, Economic Fighters League allege police fired live ammunition at crowd. That story we brought you yesterday as well. Scroll all the way down on that page. We've got lots of news there. Okay, so Kente has been trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
So we have that story there. Kente cloth
in the US.
Beloved, yeah.
And Ghana
is
too.
beloved in Ghana. Why did Democrats wear it? Now Nancy Pelosi, there you see him in that kneel there in honor of George Floyd and all that's happening. Nancy has been to Ghana before, and so I'm sure that she probably procured it from here. Otherwise, it's easy to get those as well.
While we try to claim originally that it is Ghana, which indeed it is, it's still one in Cote d'Ivoire because we still have some long-standing relations with some tribes who have their origin from the Akan.
And you know, we live
Ghana.
close to them, so we share a lot of things, even our language.
And you know one problem I have with this Kente debate and the rest?
Tell us, Manasseh.
Always comes up when some people in America wear it, and when our costumes or our fabric is worn in Europe or in the West. My problem is we shouldn't always wait and be proud when someone else wears it. If we were to be proud of our fabrics, what we had, GTP, Akusumo Textiles Limited, and many other fabric-related industries would not collapse. So we shouldn't just be proud that, well, a white woman is wearing what we produce here. Let's be proud of it and wear it from Monday to Sunday. Fantastic. Because you can get different varieties of it. And when I speak about the African fabric, people say it's expensive. That is not true. It is not that expensive. And if you are committed to promoting what is local, what is Ghanaian, I think we can always find reason to promote our own and not only wait till somebody wears it, wow, that superior human being is wearing what we also wear. I think that's the mentality we create when we take so much pride that someone else is wearing what we have here. When we don't make the necessary effort, I think these days you go to weddings and a bit of it happens, but it shouldn't only happen at weddings and then on Fridays. We can wear it from Monday to Sunday.
Okay, Manasseh.
Local industry.
Manasseh, we hear you, but that's a debate we can have. I'm looking forward to a time where we can have that debate another time. Manasseh Azuri Awini, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll catch you another time here on the show. Manasseh Azuri Awini is an investigative journalist, used to work with us here as our head of investigations. And he joined us this morning. Roland, what do we have next?
Next, we have to do the latest sports headlines. And Benedict also is here. But again, make sure you tag us. We have 0540 10 909. And if you have any of those pictures, your videos, you're affected by the rains, let us have those pictures and videos through our WhatsApp console. We'll also make sure that we have made available an ID for Zoom and a password for you to join us and tell us what your situation with the rainy weather is. Next, Benedict also with sports.
Hi there, it's time to update you in the world of sports. I'm Benedict Owusu. Let's start off in Italy, and the Serie A is set to resume on the 20th of this month. And ahead of that, all clubs have started team contact training. Well, Ghanaian midfielder Emmanuel Ajmambedu is with Hellas Verona, and for him, training has been very hard. All right, so we are unable to bring you the Emmanuel Ajmambedu's interview now, but the issue of captaincy at the Black Stars has been a major problem, something we also will talk about in the program. But recently, he won the Austrian Cup with Team Red Bull Salzburg, that's his team, in a game which he scored. Well, Ghanaian midfielder Majid Ashimero has been playing in the Austrian league for the past 3 seasons. Well, he's currently at Salzburg, but has been in and out on loan since joining the side from Wafa here in Ghana. Well, he joins me via Zoom from his base in Austria for a chat this morning. Good morning, Majid, for your time, and thanks so much for making time to speak to us this morning here on the show. I hope everything is fine.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, everything is fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, I hope you're doing good.
Yes, I'm doing great, and thanks so much for asking. Well, now you're back to what you love doing best after staying home for about 2 months due to COVID-19. How are things shaping up?
Yeah, things are going on well because you know how it was, how the crisis was, and it was difficult to play ball. So when we get the chance to be back on the pitch, I think it feels really good to be back on the pitch and do what we love most. Yeah.
And that's great. Now you came back to win the Austrian Cup against the team you played on loan. You scored as well. Take me through how it all went down, especially when you played the game, a cup final behind closed doors.
Yeah, it was a crazy game because this is a team. When I first signed my first contract in Europe, I went there on loan, and they helped me a lot. So in years to come, I'm playing against them. It was a great feeling, also a great moment, and it was also a final cup. So I think playing against your former club and in the final is always crazy. And with God Almighty, I go against them and we won them. So I think it was really, really a great moment for me, and it was also my first official trophy in Europe.
Your first trophy in Europe, and of course, as you mentioned, you scored in that game as well. But how was it like playing the cup final behind closed doors?
Yeah, it's strange, but I think we have to get used to because of the situation now, because it's better for us and also the fans. So I think it's something we have to get used to and appreciate if we can play and behind closed doors, because for the past 3 months we couldn't even go out. We were all locked down. So if we can go out and play behind closed doors, then I think it's a good thing and better for we and the fans. So I think we have to get used to.
Some have said it feels like playing a training game or training. Is that how it feels like?
Yeah, it feels like we are training, but when you know the situation you are in, you really appreciate if you are playing the game behind closed doors, because I think we know what the world is in right now. So I think it's nothing we have to complain about. We have to just get used to playing behind closed doors, just to appreciate what we can do now because of the situation now. So I think it feels like training, although, but we have to get used to.
All right, great stuff. Now you've restarted the league as well, and you are now on top, leading the pack with after 24 match days. Can you guys hold on and maintain the lead till the end of the season?
Yeah, that's the aim, and I think that's what we are working hard towards. So I think it's something we want to maintain. And, with hard working and prayers, I think everything is possible. So we keep working hard, and we play match to match, because it's crazy now, because after every 3 days we have to play a game. You can see how crazy it is, but we have to keep working hard and make sure we can maintain the standard.
I watched highlights of that final you played against Australia Steno, plus some of the games that you've played so far, and now I see you play in front of the back four instead of your usual number 8, number 10 role. How are you coping in that new role?
Yeah, I think it's a new role for me, but normally when you are a number 10 and number 8, you can still play as a number 6. But I think it's really difficult for me now, but I'm getting used to it because I spoke with our coach and he said, yeah, you can see I can also help in the number 6 because he wants the team to keep the ball more, and I'm a type who likes to keep the ball a lot. So it's a position I'm getting used to, and I think with time I'll get used to. But as now I'm not complaining because we are here to work. So wherever you want us to play, we're gonna play. So there's nothing to complain about.
That's great. Now, Salzburg, your club has produced a lot of players, including Mane and Haaland, who currently plays at Borussia Dortmund and scoring some amazing goals. Now, tell me about the club's production line, and does this motivate you that you can also one day get the opportunity to play a bigger club in Europe?
Yeah, I think it motivates everyone in the club right now. Everyone joining the club, and because when you watch, for the past the players they produce to the top clubs, it's amazing. So I think it's something that motivates me every time, and I know if I work so hard, I'll get this opportunity. So I think this is something that motivates me, and also the people who are still here. Because everyone knows when I work very hard, the chances will come, because it's a great club to develop a lot of players, and when you're in this club, it's it's really a professional club. So you learn a lot, and you'll be well developed. So I think it's a good club to be in.
All right, Majid, thanks so much for your time this morning. We are unable to continue our conversation because of time, but we'll definitely get through to Majid one of these days and have a very extensive chat with him. So that was Majid Ashimoro. He currently plays club football with Red Bull Salzburg in the Austrian League. Well, we have to go back to our first story. And this year, as I mentioned, is set to resume on the 20th of this month, and ahead of that, all clubs have actually started team contact training. Well, Emmanuel Ajmambedu, former Black Stars midfielder, was, if I can put it that way, currently plays for Hellas Verona in this year, and he's actually been speaking about how training has been very, very tough for them.
It's been very difficult. After 2.5 months at home with this hot weather, it's very difficult for us, but this is our job. This is how the situation has come into. We don't have any options than to abide with it and just keep ourselves and be ready for the next 13 games left. Seriously, we need to be very, very careful, because obviously there will be a lot of injuries after 2.5 months, which footballers, we are not used to that kind of lifestyle. And how the situation is it looks like we've been playing every 3 days, and it will be very difficult then. So we just need to take good care of ourselves, train well right now, so that at the game times we won't have too much problems, and it will be very difficult, John. I must tell you, 3 games with the hot weather, with 13 games you need to play in 1.5 months, it will be very, very difficult. But
all right, so that was Emmanuel Ajmambedu there. You get to hear more from him when he joins us later today at 2 on Sports Today, a major sports bulletin on this platform. But now, the issue of captaincy at the Black Stars, is something that keeps coming up. Now, recent revelation by former player Tony Yeboah that Tony Bafo didn't deserve to lead the team at the 1992 Africa Cup of Nations final, and runs by current Black Stars General Captain Asamoah Gyan when he was stripped of the armband, gives evidence to the fact that there's been issues with regards to who leads the national team. Well, veteran sports broadcaster Carl Tufo believes we are our own worst enemies when it comes to the captaincy issue. He was on last Saturday's edition of the Joy Sports Link with Nathan Lato.
And that's what surprised me. I've been loath to talk about it, but I have no option but to say it. I was extremely surprised at the nature in which the announcement came out at the time that Andre was to take over from. Considering the fact that the one who did it was, quotation marks, a victim 20, 30 years or whatever it was. It bamboozled me. It blew my mind. And I'm asking myself, so where did this come from? Have we gone up? Maybe what we need to do is, first and foremost, if we're going to say the prerogative is the coaches, and it should be, in my estimation, but it's not the law, then we need to have PR people to help couch this thing in such a way. And probably that. Listen, if Kwesi had done this, the tournament was in June, like a year earlier, I don't think there would have been that hullabaloo and all those. But the timing became a big matter. And so, in many ways, we are our own worst enemies. And so, if tomorrow Charles Akono decides that I am taking Nathaniel Attoh as the captain, that is Charles' prerogative. Respect it. And be professional about it. Respect it. Note that the captain must not necessarily be the best player. Some people say the captains should be inspirational. Some captains are quiet, but their performances are the inspiration. So you don't necessarily need to be loud on the pitch of play. Typical example, Virgil van Dijk. And so they say a future Liverpool captain.
Well, that's Carl Tufo speaking there. There will be more on this plus other stories when you join us at 2 on Sports Today on this very same platform. Well, my name is Benedict Owusu. Thanks so much for your company. The show continues after this short break. Don't go away.
Welcome back to the show. This is the AM show. It's been a rainy morning. We want to take you to the streets of Accra to find out what's happening. Obviously, you know what happens. When it rains, it floods, unfortunately. So we'll be out and about. Roland Walker is already out there. We'll be connecting with him. But you can join us on Zoom. We want to find out what your situation is. So the Zoom ID is 984-311-75143. You want to take your paper and your pen and you want to put that down. It's also on your screen right now. Those are live visuals coming to you from Accra right here around the circle area there. This is how it looked like. Well, actually an hour or so ago. This is how it looks like. You see that vehicle there almost submerged by the floods, and you see a lot of rubbish. A lot of rubbish generated by you and I floating in the flood there. So we'll be getting you there to we'll bring you some live visuals as well. Well, this is a live visual. We have military personnel who are joining with the National Disaster Management Organization to rescue people who may have been trapped in their homes or who may have been trapped in the floods. So you see the military men in action there. Well, like I said, you can take the script from yesterday, you can take, or not yesterday, you can take the script from yesteryears and compare to what happens today. And you can see that the script is really the same. One thing you can do, by the way, is to stay safe, stay away from flood-prone areas, and also do not put rubbish in drains. And that's part of the problem there. So those are live visuals coming to you from Odona. Police, joint police and military, as well as NADMO team rescuing people there. So join me on Zoom. The ID is on your screen. That's 984-311-75143. And the password is 624962. That's 624962. When you call us, you want to turn your phone, you know, put your phone on, you've got to turn your phone on silence. You have to turn your TV or television set on silence so we can hear you. Otherwise, you give us feedback, and that makes it difficult for us to hear what you're saying. If you live around Circle, well, we don't know what we're seeing at the moment. That looks like the body. Looks like somebody lying on the floor. I'm not quite sure what the situation is, but he looks motionless. He's not moving, and that's really, really disturbing. They're pouring water on him, water from sachet water on him. I'm not really sure what's happening there, but certainly we'll be getting some more information there. The police and the military personnel, they're trying to pour water. I don't know if that water is supposed to resuscitate this person, but the person looks absolutely motionless at the moment. I pray that he's alive and I pray that he's strong. But otherwise, shouldn't he be taken to the hospital immediately? Right now, if you live in Odona, You want to stay safe. These are live visuals coming from there. It looks like some people were trapped in their homes. And the warning has come over and over again to move away from flood-prone areas, especially if you know that you live on lower grounds. You want to move to higher grounds. I mean, it's really disturbing what we're seeing right now, coming to us live from Odona. So one of the things that we intend to do with the Zoom also is to oh my God, it's very difficult watching this, and if you're sensitive to some of these, I beg your pardon, to bear with us, but these are necessary, if you like, rude awakening that sometimes we need to put in every now and then. We'll get some more understanding of what's happening, why that person is lying down there motionless. I hope, really hope and pray that that person is alive. And if these military and police personnel working there can just take this person to the hospital or call for an ambulance, perhaps we'll be better off. The number is really simple. I think it's 112. We can call that number perhaps and make that report quickly so they can reach out to this gentleman who's lying on the ground. So call us via Zoom. If you can stand outside your home for us to take a look at what's happening outside your home. Is it flooding? Are you on higher grounds? Did you move to higher grounds that made it safer for you? We want to hear from you. Tell us what your story is as we also check out what's happening at Odona to bring you those update. So the Zoom meeting ID right there on your screen. You want to join us there. We've got the password as well. So I'm just going to take a quick look at this story here about the floods. The NADMO warning people to stay away from flood-prone areas and some of the information that NADMO put out there as well. It says that over the years, residents of low-lying areas across the country, particularly in the Greater Accra region, and the Odo is one of those places, notoriously dangerous when it rains. The country, particularly Greater Accra, have experienced flooding whenever it rains, which has often destroyed lives and properties, even though there have been education and good sanitation practices. NADMO continues to say that some people continue to litter the environment, which is one of the biggest problems that we need to deal with if we have to deal with the flooding situation, including dumping of refuse into drains. So you saw that video that trended some time back where someone lifted up his rubbish bin from home, went right there to the drain and dropped it there. This is the kind of problem we get from actions like that. You don't want to be the person that creates death and creates loss of property because you dumped rubbish that you could have paid, say, 5 cedis, 10 cedis for people to clear. That is so wrong, and we need to stop it. We really need to stop it. Now you've seen someone lying down there, even if he's alive, and I pray so that he is alive. I mean, he looks unconscious. If he looks unconscious, and that's because you picked up your rubbish and you dropped it right there in a drain. So there's flooding. So NADMO is warning for you to stop doing that. Move away from some of these areas. If you know that it's a low-lying area, you want to move away from there so you can stay safe. Like I said, we want to hear from you. If it's possible for you, I would love for you to move away from your room and stay outside. I mean, just show us the scene outside so we have a look at what's going on outside, and then we can have that conversation. I have some of you joining us already on Zoom. Not really. Some of you are showing your video, some of you are not. Let's see who we can start talking to. I jump on Michael. Michael, good morning. Thank you for your time this morning. Let's see who we can start. And Michael, it'll be good if you put your television on silent. Okay, if you can put your television on silent or lower the volume on your set so you can hear me from Zoom. That's better. That's way better. Michael, do you want to do that? Can you hear me? Okay, looks like Michael is trying to move out for me. Bernard, where are you? Bernard, give me a wave. Bernard, can you give me a wave? Do you hear me? Okay, So the meeting ID is on your screen. If you call, take off the sound from your television, because if you have the sound on your television, it makes it difficult for you to hear me in real time. It's going to take a bit of a while for you to hear me. If you leave the sound on your TV and you want to monitor what I'm saying through the TV, it doesn't work that way. So you want to kill the sound on your television, listen to me via Zoom. And the ID is right there. That's 9843117543. Password 624962. That's 624962. You can also WhatsApp us on our WhatsApp platform. Let me hear what you have to say. Bright or say bright. Can you hear me? If you do, tell us the situation in your neighborhood. It's been raining. Hello, Bright. Okay, I'm wondering why you all can't hear me, because I see you perfectly. Maybe you want to check out your mute on the Zoom. Maybe you will be able to reach out if you check out the mute on your Zoom. Perhaps you're talking, but your microphone is muted. That makes it difficult for me to hear you. But send me a WhatsApp and let me read it out. Also, if you are trapped in the rain, or if you are trapped in your home and it's flooded in your neighborhood, we want to hear. And hopefully when we put it out there, you can get some response from NADMO as well. NADMO is out there. The military is out there as well, helping with police together to rescue people. We earlier saw a man lying motionless. We're not sure what his situation is. I'm hoping that he's alive, but it looks like we may need an ambulance at Dodona right now. We may need an ambulance at Dodona right now, because all the men were doing was just pouring water on him. Let's go to Roland Walker, who has just dashed over there to Odona. Roland, what can you tell us from there? Hi, Roland. If you hear me, tell us what we ought to know. What's happening at Odona? Okay. Raising Roland back on the line. Roland is there. It looks like he's unable to hear me. Don't worry, we're working it out to reach out to Roland. But I want to hear from you. Where do you live? Are you near the Odo River? Are you in Seko? Are you outside Accra? What is happening? Do tell us, and let's see how your situation is. But if you live close to these areas, you want to move from there. Maybe you want to put up with family, you want to put up with friends. You are safer that way. Until the rains are over, you're safer that way. Also, look out for NADMO, the NADMO helplines. I'll try and pull up the NADMO helplines for you as well, so that if you need help, you can call them. Bernard Tete is joining us on Zoom. Bernard is one of our viewers who are connecting with us today. Bernard, what can you report in your neighborhood? How did the rains pan out there? Hi, Bernard. What can you report in your neighborhood? How did the rain pan out there? Hello, Bernard. Looks like Bernard can't hear me. Sincere apologies for that sound there. But I've got some very disturbing videos coming in as well. This one says this is McCarthy Hills. Well, it looks like a home that's so flooded at the moment. And you send your video as well. Why don't you join us via Zoom and let's take a look at if you can just stand outside the building. Someone sent me, you don't add your name to the message, but you sent me a video from, you say it's McCarthy Hills that has flooded. Why don't you join us via Zoom and tell us so that we can know what's happening there. Some of you want us to let you in. Okay, we'll send you in as well. We'll let you in as well. Kindly check on the people of Wager, where Ghana Water Company has opened the water drains. Alex is texting us from Dansoman. Alex, thanks for your message there. So Wager, if you are near Wager, you want to quickly reach out to NADMO. Let's get on to Roland, who is at the Odona right now. Hi, Roland.
Gifty, we're currently at one of the main areas just behind the what they call the Ordona Clinic, and the Ordona Medical Clinic is just about 500 meters away from here. The water had receded up to the lintel level, you can't say, and sometimes for many of these residents about halfway their homes. And I can say, while not on camera, that I had visited a number of the homes. Everything is inundated, all property, some had lost money, and you can see many of these residents who currently are here, and they're trying to salvage what they can. They had tried for hours to wade through the water. And all this is because we've now had the overflow of the Odo. Just nearby, we had a gentleman or a resident in the area who is believed to have been electrocuted as a result of the rains. And we've had the National Disaster Management Organization as well as the military come to ensure that they are helping in the rescue effort. We'll speak to officials of NADMO, the military, but what currently is ongoing is try to rescue people, but also retrieve a body that is said to be in one of these flooded homes. And you can see that, look, everybody is at his or her wit end. They're trying as much as possible to salvage. Look, if you take a look through the current level of the water, it gives you the imagination as to the extent to which many of these homes got flooded. And just close by, we have some metal works, and you could see that even up to the walls had been inundated with water. And just look at the gates right there. The gates, the black gate you're watching, had almost half of it inundated with water up to the end of the walls. We'll try as much as possible to speak to officials of the military who are here. They have been making efforts over the last couple of hours to ensure that they are in a position to help in the rescue effort. I want to speak to Lieutenant Colonel Infum, and good morning to you, sir. I know that you've come here with your team, but which of the regiment of the army are you coming from, sir?
48th Engineer Regiment, please.
And how long have you been here, you and your men, as well as with the help from the police personnel?
We've been around since 0400 hours.
And what was the situation that met your eyes?
The place was quite crowded. We got people trapped in here, so we had to use our boats. We left it out there. We had to use our boat to rescue some of the civilians trapped in here to a safe haven. But for now, we have a dead body in there that we're trying to bring out.
And we also got the news of the dead body. We're told actually there were two, but it's for good reason that we've come here to ascertain for ourselves. What can you tell us about whether we have one or two of the bodies?
I'm not aware of the number of people there. For now, all I know is there's someone trapped in there who is dead. That is all I know for now, but I can't confirm the actual number of dead.
Lieutenant Colonel, have you been able to help people wade through the waters out of their homes?
Yes, we've been able to do as much. When we got here around 0400, we got some people who were trapped in there, so we had to rescue them with our boats. We had about 20 of them in total, rescuing about 20 of them to safe havens.
How many men do you have scattered or deployed in the vicinity?
For this vicinity, we have about 36 of us here. We also sent some people to Ashama General area. But within this jurisdiction, we have about 36 of our guys here.
Well, good work you're doing. Let's go speak to the Member of Parliament for the area, and then we'll come back to you. But before we get there, you can see that the Ordona area is a hub for mechanics, repair, rehabilitation of used cars, new cars, imported cars, and it's where you find many people who try to ply their trade. They hustle through the times each day of life and try to make it as much as they can. And one person who has inherited this is the Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. Zaneto Rollins, would want to speak to her. Indeed, we got news from a number of residents in the area that she'd been around the constituency for a number of hours now. Now, good morning to you, Dr. Zaneto Rollins.
Good morning.
And when you first came here, what was the current situation or the situation at the time?
The water level was really high, and actually what happened was the water level rose before the rains even got to this area, which means that we have a real problem we're dealing with. You know, we know that around June this is what tends to happen, but this is the worst we've seen in many years. And I think one of the main problems is that bottleneck around the Agboboloshi market area. So when the water fills up the Odo, instead of moving towards the sea, it forms like a dam and it comes back. And what you see here is just devastating, We've had about, I think 2 deaths have been reported so far. There's a drain here that was being done. This is Odona garages we're in right now. The drain has not been completed. It's narrower than it should be for the volume of water. And we find ourselves here again. And there are lots of angry residents. As you go around, people are angry. And, you know, I heard a couple of people saying, don't even think of bringing us mosquito nets and blankets, because that's not the solution. And they are right. If every year this is what is happening, the frustration that people are going through, the destruction of not just lives, but people's livelihoods as well. We can't have a perennial destruction of people's livelihoods and lives. It's just not right.
Myself, I had to wade through the water, my phones, my trousers halfway before I could get here because, yes, because before you come here, here is in the middle, and before you come here, you have to wade through water. Right. And the military had to use their boats, even they are wet. Yeah. But for the resident constantly, even prior to now, who had been making complaints, what had you been telling the authorities as a member of parliament representing them? Actually,
last year we had a town hall meeting where we invited the Minister for Works and Housing, because that's the ministry that's responsible for the huge drain, the Odo, and in Asylum Down as well. And he did give us his word that the work would be started in time to relieve the level of flooding that we're having here. And unfortunately, that's not happened yet. But I would really like to extend my gratitude to the 48 engineers for the amazing job that they've done here, just rescuing the people who were stranded in their homes, and for the police who have also come to the rescue. They've really helped the fort since the flooding started.
We've always had estimates, and indeed, on the private side, I've been involved in various companies that had been working closely with the Ministry of Works and Housing to find some solution to the downstream sector of the Odo, to make sure the residents and the drainage itself is expanded to be able to contain water. How deeply have you known whatever information or discussion so far to make sure we see an end to this?
Well, I'm not involved in the technical aspect of things, but definitely what we see from our experience is that the whole situation needs to be re-engineered. You know, there are certain aspects of our lives as Ghanaians that we need to look at, which includes the poor management of waste when it comes to dumping waste in the waterways, people also building structures in waterways. All of these are contributing to some of these problems we're seeing here. You know, and we need action to be taken, because it's not enough for us to keep coming around every year and saying sorry to people. It's not acceptable. We really need really drastic action, and we like to call on the government to really step in and take the necessary action to prevent this, because this is the first heavy downpour, and it was only for 30 minutes. The rain started in the mountains, and this is what we're seeing. So imagine what happens when it actually rains a lot more here. We really have to have some kind of permanent solution to this. I see you holding a megaphone. What was it for? Unfortunately, when you have a situation like this, people tend to forget the protocols with regards to the distancing with the COVID-19. Of course, people had to rush out of their homes. They don't have masks. You know, so it's just to remind people that in spite of the emergency right now, there is also the underlying health crisis, which is the pandemic, so that people remember to just give that distancing, because in these situations, you don't actually think about all these things. You just have your mind on maybe the immediate situation. So it's just to remind people to maintain the spacing. I've seen some NADMO representatives. Are they just personnel, or you have their heads also available here? No. They're the NADMO within the municipality, actually. So they're part of the municipal. Right. We'll leave you try and wade through the water and get some insight into what the situation is. But how were you using the megaphones? If you can just display it for us, we'll be happy. You just switch it on and then you speak into it. And if people what were the messages you were bellowing through? Well, mostly that people should maintain social distancing. Those who don't need to be in the vicinity should move. And those who don't wear masks, who aren't wearing masks but are close, should just open up. so that we at least don't have a situation where we have a huge surge in the number of cases as a result of this disaster. So we have it's quite tragic, but we can't have you going there at the moment because there's a dead body.
I won't get near.
Okay.
I'll just get close enough to be safe.
Okay.
I've already waded through water and gutters and falling through. My phones are off.
Thank you.
But we'll get back to you. We'll try to go straight to the personnel and speak to them individually to get their experiences and not to go far. But this is the current situation. I've been told by way of caution. Indeed, you can see me. I had to remove my shoes. I came back well dressed. Like somebody who needed to wade through flood waters. In the studio, I was rightly dressed with a shoe, everything, but when the situation arises, this is what you get. 25 years of great experience, 25 years of impactful journalism. That's what Joy News gives you, and we're live here at Odona, and it's where you're getting a situation where we have the personnel of the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces who had been here since 4 o'clock. They call it 400 hours GMT. I decided to call it 4 o'clock in the morning. That's more Ghanaian, I believe. But at the end of the day, there is a suspected case of a dead body in there. One or two, the military and the personnel of the National Disaster Management Organization, a couple of the personnel of the police, are still not sure how many people. In there, and the camera lenses will take you straight, the number of the residences in the area, not necessarily of this household, who are helping to make sure they keep the situation under wraps. It's a situation they have been inundated with, have associated themselves with over the last couple of hours. They have been doing that just because they had to salvage whatever is left. Indeed, when you go to some of these homes that we'll show you later right here on the show, there's nothing to salvage in reality. So I've been cautioned not to go near. I believe this is my barrier. I'll try as much as possible, and then also try to get some of the insight. And this is the situation. Officials of NADMO in there, and then we'll try as much as possible to get some of the situations as they have. Well, we'll try and speak to officials of the area to get to know the efforts that are being made. But let me just get you to some of the insight that we can have, and I will speak to the assembly representative of the area, not more officials in there. But let me ask your name in the first place. This is an emergency, and this is, I believe you work with the National Disaster Management Organization.
Yes, my name is Daniel Odeyapia, the Municipal Director for NADMO Kolokoti Municipal Assembly. And this has been one of the awful emergencies we've encountered in the municipal so far. About 1 a.m. we started having a situational report on the ground as to how the flood was actually ravaging lives and properties over here. Now what happened was the place got flooded before it started raining in our house, and it means that it rained from a breeze coming down. And as we know, whenever it rains like that over there, the water runs down here and it gets our place flooded. So a little downpour in our area gets our place flooded badly. And that's what has actually happened. And it is so sad seeing how lives and properties have been affected badly. Unfortunately, we've had some life claimed by this flood as a result of electrocution, which of course, since about 1:30, we started calling electricity to put off the lights. It was so unfortunate that they were waiting to get response or directives from their headquarters and the like. And they delayed in putting the light off, and that's what has caused the life over here. So it's so bad. And again, the situation is also partly as a result of they trying to rescue their properties from the flood. And we have been advising and sensitizing people against that thing, that when your place is flooded, don't try to rescue your properties. Try to have a safe place to save yourself before you turn to your properties. So again and again, we appeal to the public that we are in the rainy season. When you are in a lowland or a flood-prone area, whenever you have information that is going to rain, first and foremost, don't wait till the rain sets in. Have a place for your property and make sure that you have a haven or a safe place to save yourself. You see, and that is what we are advising at the moment, because from now till about ending of July into August, it's going to be raining. And we have an indication that it's going to be raining heavily. So we don't want lives and property to be affected badly like we are seeing now. So let's all protect ourselves. Let's all guard against some of such occurrences going forward. Thank you very much.
Well, that's Daniel Appiah, right?
Oday
Appiah, the Municipal Director for the National Disaster Management Organization. And let me tell you, I'll be speaking to the Municipal Chief Executive for Korle Klottey. Earlier, we spoke to the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, and you can see that many of these cars, indeed, very nice cars, it's Land Cruiser, as you can see on your screens. And as far as we're related, this is spoiled. Clearly inundated with water. Now has to be salvaged, but we will speak to the Chief Executive of the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly, Daniel Ni Ajay Tawia.
No, not Daniel.
Ni Ajay Tawia, Samuel Ni Ajay Tawia, and Ni Ajay Tawia. If you take the perennial difficulties that your residents, your inhabitants within the municipality have to go through, it would mean that we should have been more proactive than reactive, even though we know it's an annual situation.
Yes, I think we were. A lot has been done. But the rainfall, should I say last night, especially in the mountain areas, was beyond what it has been in recent times. We have done a lot. So in fact, the recent rains, we've not had such a problem, but yesterday's or last night was a very massive one, and that is why it has led to all this.
But we know you have all the right offices in your assembly. You have NADMO, you have Environmental Health Officer, etc. You should be working closely with the weather forecasters, the Ghana Meteo Agency.
Yes. You see, this particular situation we have here this morning is as a result of rainwater from further, maybe from the mountain area. So even before 1 a.m. this morning, we had calls that the drain is almost full. So the little rain over here led to what we are seeing today. So in fact, normally when it starts raining here, people here, they also know. So they move out, they go to higher levels, grounds, let's say towards City FM or beyond. But this one took all of them by surprise. So they were not able to put things in their right place, and some of them were indoors. So that is what has created.
So what now?
Oh, well, we will continue to do what we are doing to make sure that if it rains, enough of the water will get easy access into the main drain. So that is what we are doing.
Yeah. Well, this right here is on the AM show, but it's Joy News Live on Facebook, Joy News on TV. We're also on Twitter at Joy News on TV. Joy News TV is indeed our official YouTube channel. You can get all these updates on myjoyonline.com. It's live coverage of the flooding situation in Accra. We'll connect straight away to Maxwell Agbagba, and then you get again the perspective as to what is happening in Achimota. We'll come back here. We have all the officials here, personnel from the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, the Member of Parliament for the area, Korle Klottey, Dr. Zanato Rollins, the NADMO officials all here. Now back to the studio, and then you get all the latest updates.
Thank you.
Well, Roland, we are live from Achimota, as you rightly stated. Well, this is the situation here at Achimota. The rain water, the flood water actually left in its trail the destruction of makeshift structures. Now, if you come here to Achimota, you see many of those destroyed makeshift structures lying on the side of the road. Even as we stand very close to the storm drain, you can see carpet, you can see buckets, you can see personal effects of people, just running in this storm drain, and then we really cannot tell where all of this is going to end up. But this is the situation here. But quite astonishing is this sprinter, which is stuck here in this drainage system. We are told that the flood water, the power of the flood water actually dragged this vehicle about 200 meters, and it got stuck here at this point. That tells you the sheer force of the flood water and the rains that we experienced yesterday, and then some this early this morning. So this is the Achimota drain, and we have with us the man who owns the vehicle that is stuck in here in this drainage system. I want to find out from him exactly what happened. Sir, you're welcome to join me.
Thank you very much.
This is your car and it's stuck in here in this drainage system. Yeah. Tell us, what happened?
Thank you very much. I'm David Agbuado, the PR of Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana. Okay. But what I had this dawn, around 1:30, was my phone was ringing. And when I picked the call, it was my driver that calls me that my vehicle had been taken by the flood from about 200 to 300 meters from this place. And the vehicle is parked on that lane, lead to Akwetema Palace, the Chief's Palace, this there. And then the vehicle was carried by the flood from that end into this bridge. And it's very, I don't know how to put, I don't know how to put it, because I'm surprised. A vehicle that has been carried by flood more than 300 meters down to this gutter. I don't know how to explain it, and it's over me. I don't know how to explain it. But.
Well, so why did your driver park the vehicle yesterday?
I parked it on the street that I'm calling. It leads to the palace of the Achimota chief. Yeah, let me put it this way: the chief of Achimota. It leads the other road that leads to the palace. That's where the driver parked the vehicle. And very unfortunately, my vehicle is heavier than the taxi cab, but the taxi cab got stuck at the small gutter over there before mine was pulled down here.
No, I mean, literally, it's your sweat that has gone down the drain here, stuck in the drain here. Yeah. Tell me, this vehicle, I mean, I'm sure it does the round for you, gets money for you to feed your family. It's your source of livelihood, I want to believe.
Yes. You know, it's transport that I run. Transport business is what I do. And this is one of them. And he also adds to feeding of my families, both my nuclear and extended family. Because as we know, Ghana, we do by this Ebusiapenyi something. And I'm the assistant to the head of the family. So I'm the second to the Ebusiapenyi. So I'm Ebusiapenyi Ketwa, as we will always say it. And, you know, the family depends on you heavily. Another thing. So, yeah. So we depend on ourselves in Ghana here. As you can see, the vehicle is stuck here. And most of my family members, including my children, are going to stuck for some time if insurance doesn't come in. Yeah.
Are there any efforts to at least get it out of this drainage system?
Yeah, that's why I went to Tesana Police Station to go and report. And we brought this towing car to come and pull it and then tow it to safer place. Yeah.
But did you live around?
Yeah, I'm at Abeka. I live at Abeka.
What's the situation at Abeka?
At my end there, it's also close to a flood area like this, but I didn't know anything going on over there because of the tension on me over here. I didn't hear anything. Till I go back, if I hear something, once I have link with media, I'll get you people informed.
I'm so sorry for this. God will definitely make a way, yeah? Okay, thanks so much for speaking to us. Chief, you're welcome to join me.
Okay, we are here yesterday night. We saw it was raining. And when we get to the Achimota railways, the rain has taken the railways down there. We saw a little children there. One of the children was dead. But we didn't see his parents, either his mother or his father. So we didn't see that was what happened here.
Wait, you saw a dead child where?
Yeah, at the railways there. We saw a little child, but he was dead. But didn't get his mother and his father. There was no parents there, so...
Are you able to tell us, guess the child's age?
I'm a driver at the Achimota station.
Okay. But what happened? Is it the flood water that carried that carried the body there, or maybe something happened to it?
Yeah, it's the flooding water that carried the baby there. The baby was inside a kiosk. When it was raining, then the rain took the so what we see that the baby was outside the park.
Okay. And you're saying a section of the rail line has also been carried away? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. It was carrying away things and some people's car and men made those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll verify all these things you're telling us, but thanks so much for the information. So this is the situation here. Let's give you a good view of the destruction that has been caused here. Let's give you an idea of what it is like. So if you see this stretch of road, this is very close to the overpass here. And it links all the way, goes all the way to the Central Business District, to Accra, to Tesano and its environs. But what we want to show you is a traffic situation that is building on this side of the road because of the flood. Now, we are told that this mirrors the situation when you go, a bit further in there. People coming all the way from Pokwasi and its environs are having quite a hard time getting through this traffic. But once they make it, it's a bit okay, up there. But from this point, it's not a struggle. The road has actually been reduced because some portions of it has become muddy as a result of the rains. So these vehicles would have to take their time to navigate this mud, to go through it carefully before. And this has created, some kind of traffic situation here all the way leading to Pokwasi and its environs. So what you can see right now in the picture is the destruction that has been caused by the rains. A lot of makeshift structures were actually washed into the drain. And what we can see is that we've seen some of the owners getting closer and trying to salvage, some of the things that they can find. I've seen a man trying to collect some of the wood here, and he tells me that he's going to reconstruct, the building. So.
Is the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces. They've indeed retrieved the body, and this is live. We're bringing to you from this home in at the Baraka, the Odona area, and it's where you can see that they're making the effort gradually, just making sure they put this body in the bucket of this police van. Indeed, this exercise has been coordinated by the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, officials of the Ghana Police Service, the National Disaster Management Organization, officials of the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly, led by the Chief Executive, the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey. She herself has been here for a number of hours, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings. And indeed, we've had well-meaning individuals just adjourning various homes who also have been affected by the current situation. And while we have to be cautious, we also would have to tell you about the current state of affairs, because this started, we're told, by the Municipal Chief Executive for the area in the late hours of yesterday, had continued in the early hours of this morning, and now body has been retrieved and it's being taken away to the morgue, obviously. Investigations will logically, as part of the formal processes, be conducted by the security apparatus, the disaster management organization, the police service, and very moving scenes here. Indeed, there are people who know this the individual and greatly affected.
Ishmael.
And let me speak to the assemblyman for the area. And if you're an assemblyman, there's a certain supposition that you virtually know everybody within the nooks and crannies of the community. And the assemblyman, I have been reliably informed, knows the deceased. We'll speak to him. What's your name, sir?
Kina Hendrick.
What again?
Kina Hendrick.
Mr. Hendrick, do you know the gentleman in question or the lady? Is that a male or female?
A male.
Male. And I know that you're part of the rescue team. indeed, when did this start up to the point where we are?
Around 2:40, I was called that it has not rained, but the odor is gushing out to the community. So I wake up and I started calling people to inform others that this is what is happening. I started calling and they called me back that the way the thing is getting to their rooms, we have to inform ECG to off the light. I did my best. I called ECG several times, number of people. I had to go back to my MC, my MP, my director. I called almost everybody and I informed them they should also inform ECG to put off the light. But it's just unfortunate, this morning we came around and we were going around looking at the situation and we heard that our brother Kojo Entry was attacked by the electricity and is gone.
He got electrocuted.
Yes.
But indeed, as an assembly member, we're always cautioned by the National Disaster Management Organization. Indeed, the assembly members, the assembly itself, the members of parliament, that we should always be proactive. If you look at the way the wires keep dangling, for example, on the poles itself, before you get to look at the situation and the way the wires have been used around the buildings here, it presupposes that definitely any disaster could give you some tragedy.
Yes, it has happened before. That is the reason why we started calling ECG to put off the light. You know, when you look, you see a transformer here. It was almost full. So when there is a big transformer here and the current in that transformer is over 11,000 watts. So definitely we'll have problem here. And looking at this area is an old area. So definitely this is the way you're going to see it, unless ECD want to have a change in repairing some of these things for us.
And I'll try and see whether my lenses could get you the transformer. And that is the height of the transformer. Yes. Okay. And water had exceeded this transformer. You could definitely not see your way past through. And that is the height. And if you're watching us live on Joy 99.7 FM, as well as watching us, if you're listening to us live on Joy 99.7 FM and also watching us on Joy News, for those who are listening on radio, the height of the transformer will be about 12 to about 15 feet, thereabouts. And the water had exceeded that height. It shows you the height and the level of the water. Now, I would want to speak to a number of the residents, but if you take a look at the extent of damage, I see a couple of the buildings that are just one-floor story buildings. They're very old, definitely just post-independence, 70s buildings. There's one or two that may have been built within the last couple of years, but definitely this is an old residential area. And this is a mix hub of residents, mechanical shops, metal workshops, and then many other areas where residents tend to trade. Now, I would want to speak to some of these rescuers. These early rescuers helped in the early hours of the morning, and I can say from 1 to 2 a.m. to help many of these stranded residents who had water entering their houses at a level of about 10 feet, some 12 feet, based on the marks I can see. Which of the languages do you want to speak?
Daniel.
Daniel, me pacho wo emrebeng na oba ha obeboa manfo wo man nsuo na nkasa no eyiri wo mo
Efie wana me wo
efie ben
police quarters.
Baby eyi Kojo, the late Kojo no one. Kojo na we free mo no not saying.
Oh, onye obi a o adwen de we nsuo yira on nyane nyane ye
now mom be you cars wow I didn't know you know now they are 2 years enti we sooner to no na say nyina yada be 12:30 to 1 mu ene ete say insune ba eno dimika no kunya na boy bi wa no fe no kofi so nko yi ni car no na insune de insune ba na boy ni tu ni car ti boy ni tu ni car na oba ye ni sa do be bobo eden ni ada ti obo dan ni mu no ena nyane emma ni bi nyane ti we nyane ye no police ni ba ko e fi a fe ni si Ronaldo o ko juma enam de we nsu ni to ni ti no o de ni kin ma obi boy bi wa ye junior we fe neighbor enti apian ba no bi se bo si Ronaldo ye kan se ne dan wa yi mu nyoma no no si ama yi di hia ni na gu soro asisi anaka TV nko a na apian ka se udi ni pa wu a usi TV na oja ibe no ho eti owura edan na osan ibe no no
ye kojo no owura osan ibe no owura dan ni mu no ni ati se bibi aji gum ti ati se bibi aji gum na ma na sate so mtetem se me mamlo ene de fast but ni pa oni omo dem ho no oka ho a miensa eti no gum na no mso kuta extension board na extension board no so na ho hyeda nye cresa etino efanimu ema extension board na connected na to power source socket bi
connected to power etino ono no obehwe as no pim boy bi I fe no joy ono so ofie o bi ena fa joy ni sumu nti joy na nkoko pim wo ena pim guy bi a ono so kan ho na mo kan mo yemensa no na joy ni to fam nti joy ni to fam no tam ya kan say boy na tam joy gina o to otam ni gina o na fo mu hu ba bia amfa na mo fa mu buwi no na mo fa ntokure
kojo na ba ne san no nu mom na electricity na ekunu
se tama we no blasters na mi se kuta bibi na o hye onhye mpaboa nsuntin na isuo so o efem ho no mo enti eyesa no otofo no nanim se na o de koi James na nim say no the coin no and ma esuri mi ekoni nimu eno na ma na
because that time no na edem na nkasa nso na yiri ho
odem ho no mo nsu odem ho pa je matre edem nyina no nsu na yiri afo no ase no enti no tomu no opre ko no mo kan ho no so as obi run for life ntino ama obi antumi ama na chibi eti emra na ka say emra me boa no ye bae no ye hwe de wi ana light ni sisu na enye free police ni ba ko say on free penifo no mo ye de munum light no nye nkonko hwe say apia no ida say watumi apie ana say o da ho dem o enye free police ni ye free no ka che me say wa free electricity for no but electricity for no e delay time Omandum light nente.
Netra se no won sio no munyina na electrocution intina electricity no wom.
Ne o so ne
na electricity no wom.
Ne wom ena sio no so wom. And the police no bra ye ansa na electricity for edum light. To mudum light na me fe na nga chen say omadum light na o se ne yenko edem on yenko hwe say ida say boy no wapie omubu ntokua no afa ho apie kobi ana say o edem ho no ana wonya ba bia agina ye call first one ye ntumi ambie dan no na me friend am ka chen say ye call ye ntumi ambie dan no na o san so frame bi me ka chen say ye momodin a say kwan kora be fa so a ye nsa be kan say ye be hu say enipa no tiase ana say o wu no
sembre na ye dum light no
that time no
na mutimi fa nsuo no
ye dum light no amomodum light ntini tumi fa nsuo no enti ye call no ye hwa ni ye hu no ye hu ma bi oda o edem o enti ahwe na boy ba we ne nan eka no ono say boga oni o to ka so oni na me kwa na me fi se bi a oboa enti na me kuta wo ma bi ana am disi si wo no ma ene ko si ni so ti si ni so no ye sanka ye de ni pie ene ka se ye frɛ boss no ka ti say ye hu apia no ono say ye be ne de na si ano yentumi the way nsuo na afro no yentumi nya ba bia amfa ne nto na o se saade a yemfa ne hye dan ne mu ne yentum na se nsuo no twe a ono abeba obeba fi oba obefe ne mpanifo amama efe emu no enti ampani nsuo no twe no wan later am kura na ɔde amika a ɔbaa nso ɔfrɛfrɛ mpanimfoɔ a ɔmba ma bɛfa
mokɔhu no na wɔfiri
yɛkɔhu no deɛ na ɔnte ateasefoɔ ase so biom ama apea ɔnkan ho
apea ɛyɛ kodwo ntwi na wɔ mo frɛ
kodwo ntwi na yɛfrɛ no ba ne fie adwuma mu din ɛyɛ
ɛde adwuma na ɔyɛ
pakyɛ ɔyɛ mechanic.
And indeed, you could you've heard the word mechanic, and where we are is a hub of both residential as well as mechanics who tend to ply their trade here. And we've had a number of residents that we've spoken to. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM as well as on Joy News TV. And please, we're mainstream free to where you can just go check us out and get all these pictures live. And for those who have only the benefit of listening to radio, I can see dotted lines or marks of debt that has been left by the raging floods or waters up to a feet of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just my observational estimation. And I want to speak to Ni Ejay. Samuel Ni Ejay is a member of this assembly, the Korle Klottey Assembly. He indeed heads the assembly as chief executive. I was speaking to the member of parliament for the area, Korle Klottey, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings as well. But it means that something has to be done. Well, I won't say quickly, but something that concretely has to be in the plans, won't you say?
Yes, that's right. But as you can see, something is being done.
Which is what?
The drains are being constructed. That's the storm drains to allow the water to flow a bit more freely into the main or dot drain.
Clearly late in the day, when if you look at these type of concrete works, it should be undertaken, and you and I know by experience, as quickly as possible, because we know when the rains come.
Yes, it started early, and I think the contractor is currently not at site though, but it started on time. If we look back a few years back, we didn't have such a thing here, so I think it's an improvement on the situation. Yeah.
From here, where are you going? What are you going to do?
We are going to Osu Doku because it's been a big problem there too. You know, leading to the old Riga cinema area. That place also got flooded. So we are living here to make sure things are okay. In fact, I came from that area to this place because I think this place seems to be more serious than that place. So that's why we are here. Now we are moving on back to there to make sure everybody is okay. And the awareness creation also is important in the sense that when these things happen, switches and putting on lights on, off, are not things that are to be done.
And this you're talking about are cautions that ideally residents should be knowing. Do you give them some of these public education before the onset of the rains?
Yes, we do. We do. In fact, we have the NADMO team and the disaster management team of the municipality, and these are the sort of things that go around educating people about. Yes.
But look, now the vast areas, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Many other cars just beyond 21 that my eye could see beyond that have been inundated by the floods. We have to hand over to studio, but again, it's a live coverage of the flooding situation. Even before I had to get here, I have to wade through water. It meant I had to remove my shoes and be barefoot to also be in a position to wade through the water. It's part of what we do, 25 years of great experience of impactful journalism right here on Joy News, Joy 99.7 FM, the multimedia family. But we'll speak to the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings, who also has been here for hours. It's now time check, almost a minute to 8:20, and she told me she'd been here before 4 a.m. Indeed, early on we spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Infum, who headed personnel of the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces. They had come in way earlier to make sure they use their boats to go through the water and do the rescue. He said they had rescued over 80 to 90 residents of the area. But again, it's the caution to make sure when the rains are coming, you're in a position to know what you're supposed to do. Because the deceased, the late Kojo, whose friends that we spoke to this morning said he may have suspectedly died of electrocution. And ultimately, by the time they got to officials or the station just closed.
Roland Walker coming to us live from the Odona there. So the story that's just breaking right here on Joy News on your channels is that one person has died. Kojo Ntwi is how they call him. They also call him Apia. It looks like from what the stories we're hearing that he tried to rescue some of his property in his room. He got electrocuted. He's been taken away in a body bag by the military. Very sad story. Stay safe out there. I'm going to take a very quick break. I'll return and we'll have a quick conversation about the ICOMS taking over GC Network at the port. If you deal in exports, imports, you must have seen this. You have also heard about the agitation that's been caused there as well. What's really in there? We'll find out when we return from this break. This is the AM Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, breaking news is that one person has died. He was electrocuted during the rains when it flooded at the Odona. We've been live there. We've been covering that. A vehicle has also been swept into a big storm drain in Achimota. Right now, we're going to talk about some agitations that we've recorded at the port, especially because of the changeover from GCNet to ICOMS. And I have here in the studio Samson Awengobeti, is the Executive Secretary of Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Samson, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I also have Novan Akwa-Heford, who is a PR manager for ICOMS. You'll also be joining us. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So let's take a look. Give people a summary of how the changeover has impacted your business and how it has changed the way that you do things, for which reason most of you have been agitating.
All right, very well. I must say good morning to your numerous cherished viewers in the country and beyond the source of Ghana. And good morning to my friend, ICOMS Public Relations Manager, Ivan. Congratulations for your appointment. And then our condolence goes to the lost, that we've just lost. I see him to be a hero, someone who wake up around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to try to wake up people who were sleeping. And at the end of the day, try to rescue people, and at the end of the day, he rather lost his life. It's pathetic, but I think our condolence goes to such a gentleman and the family as well. I must say, we have come with a lot of issues, and it has not been good, but I know ICOM, and I'm sure when it is the tenor of Ivan, he will try to tell you what his outfit has been doing to restore confidence back into the industry. What I can say is that there was a problem in the transitional time. Actually, some of us we are not against the new system that government is bringing. It's the government that says that the system that were there are not reaping the kind of needed revenue that they want. And they were bringing single window or ICOM end-to-end system that was coming to replace the new regime, and it will give us more revenue according to what the government were appealing to us. We have asked questions what happened, and they are asking GCNet to go, which has a contract that is running to 2023. And why are you asking West Blue to go when they have a contract running to December? When we have invested and we are on paperless, why at this point? And then when the president came to the State of the Nation address in this year, February, and made it to understand how robust after the paperless implementation, the amount of revenue that is raking from the port. And so we ask, can't the government give a little bit restraint to the ICOMs to go under proper, what do you call it, piloting? Because I actually proposed in somewhere early this year, February, I proposed that there was a need for government to allow the Unipass system to run parallel. That's where the people started picking that word parallel. And they asked me to explain why do I say parallel. And I said parallel because these people have been here, they have invested and reinvested and trained and retrained the agents, and they were comfortable, they were conversant with their system. This was a new system that we were bringing. We need to train and retrain, that is the ICOMs. They need to give more training to the agents to actually make good use of the system, so before they can completely take over. So I propose that let them start on piloting, especially Temaport, because what we were hearing from Takoradi, I see that Takoradi volume, in terms of volumes, cannot be compared to Temaport. When they came to airport, I see it in terms of volumes cannot be compared to Temaport. So in the whole Ghana, Temaport is our baby, our golden egg. So we cannot toil with what is happening in Temaport. So I propose that, one, can the ICOM begin with piloting on cars, because that is non-perishable cargo. Maybe after cars, they will see the teething problem that we are getting now. Then they will move on to maybe the road, they will add on maybe those who clear force. Then after force, then maybe they can add our brothers and sisters, those who clear spare parts. Then third man to fourth man, then they continue to add on. Then you get to add on the homogeneous product.
Okay.
And the frozen food that is not easily can be perishable. Okay. So these were some of the things. So I was expecting that. And of course, we have seen, not that, I think we learned from our previous experience. 28th April to 29th to 30th April, you remember what happened at the port when the minister of, the senior minister gave the directive that ICOM should take over from the port. There was a completely shut down. And some of us raised the issues, and the government appealed to GCNet and was able to open, whilst they will give the opportunity for ICOM to prepare and take over from them.
So you've raised a particular issue that I want to bring Novan in on, so that we can deal with that. Then we can deal with the subsequent issues. Novan, Mr. Wigobit here, who represents the Importers and Exporters Association, is raising the concern about problematic transitioning from what used to be GCNet to ICOMs. He's saying that the association actually indicated this could have been done on a piloted basis, so that you do it gradually, so you have a gradual implementation of the takeover. Why did that not happen? And ideally, everything new should ideally go through some sort of piloting.
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. And let me say that when it comes to this particular question that you are asking, for us at Ghana Link Network Services, who are the technical providers for the new system, I think that we are very much concerned in ensuring that all the teething problems or the challenges that have come up, over the period are resolved. And my good friend Awungobit knew that we've been working around the clock, all the challenges we've had. In fact, the freight forwarders have brought together to us a lot of issues that they are facing, and we are dealing with it. When it comes to migration, of course, that's a government policy that has to deal with the GRA, who are, the ones government has given the power in terms of collection of revenues across the country for them. And you would admit that I might not be able to speak to policy issues. And so with that one, I think that we have to talk to the authorities in that regard. But I want to assure Samson Awungobit and then all importers and exporters, and also our friends and our brothers, our aunties, the clearing agents, that all the challenges, they brought some to my attention yesterday. I was speaking to the GIFT president, who raised certain issues. In fact, personally, I've had people send me their BOEs that they said they had put into the system and had not been processed yet. That is because there are a lot of BOEs that the STSB are working on, and day in and day out, they try to try and then deal with the backlog that they have. And Auntie Annabelle was the head of that unit. They're doing very well together with Mr. Kisi, and then also I think Mr. Koto.
If I could just interrupt you briefly. You indicated that some problems have been reported to you and you've dealt with them. What's the...
We are in the process. Some have been dealt with.
I just want you to give me the main theme, the theme running through these problems that have been reported to you. What kind of problems are these?
Okay, so some few of the challenges has to do with BOEs. I didn't indicate that they have put into the system that haven't come out yet. Because don't forget that when you start the process and you put in your BOEs, it has to go to the STDS, which is the
BOE, by the way?
Customs Technical Support Bureau. And so they do the evaluation and then all the classification and those things, and then they would intend, work on it, and then you can get it back, and then you move on to the next stage. So there are stages that you need to go through. I think that we don't have much time if we have to go through all the stages that we have. And so I'm saying that I'll just give you an example that these things have been dealt with. There was a backlog of fresh BOEs. And don't forget also that you realize that what is important is that we all as stakeholders at this point are looking at how do we ensure that work is done at the ports and it goes on as it is. Because, issues of rent and demurrage and all those things have been raised, but that is also another policy issue which I cannot deal with, or Ghana Link cannot deal with. But I know, and yesterday, even in my discussion with the GIF president, we know that they've written letters to the government, especially to the Ministry of Trade and the GRA, and they are in some kind of discussions to see how that can be dealt with for them, especially for the importers, the exporters, and the clearing agents. Because remember that when an importer gives money to the clearing agent to get his goods out, what he's waiting for is that his goods comes out. And so when there's rent and demurrages, sometimes, a lot of the time, you have to see to that has to be paid for by the clearing agent. And this is not something that anybody wants to
do. Obviously, so let me come back to the studio with Mr. Wengobet on the issues that you raised. He says that some of these issues are not for Ghana Link necessarily to tackle. As an association, you have an opportunity to be able to engage government with the proposals that you have. Did you, and what did they say?
Let me tell you, let me help to educate your listeners. The point is that at the time Ghana Link was coming to start on the 1st of June, what they ought to have done, and Customs should have advised the sector minister in this direction. That look, from on the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st of May, people had processed on the GCNet platform or the GCMS. Yeah. So whether they've reached 30% about exit, they've reached 50% about exit, or even some have paid duty and sent for clearance for compliance, which is the STB, the Custom Technical Bureau Center in the Customs Office, to allocate an examination officer for them to go to the terminal like MPS like this to pick their box from there. Box means the goods from there. What the government ought to have done, or what Customs were supposed to do, was supposed to tell the government that let all those who process on the GCNet platform to continue to exit there. On the 1st, anybody who have not done whether 10%, whether 1% entry on the GCNet system, let those people begin doing BOE, bill of entry, on the new system.
Okay, so now, let's take this conversation a bit forward, because we moved on from the point where they did not do what you're saying they should have done. Right now,
that was what brought that charge at the log room.
It's okay. Because I want to understand what ought to be done right now to make the system smooth and flawless so that you can do your work easily.
Well, I strongly want to appeal to ICOM system that every minute, every now, they need to update us, especially we the key stakeholders, how many BOE has gone through their system. How many have they, if they paid it, because I get complaints that people paid it, if people even send the BOEs, it goes through the ICOM system, coming back to them for them to know how much is the duty that they're supposed to pay. They are not getting it. Some are also saying that...
Usually, how long will it take for you to get that feedback?
Oh, I think within the day you should have it.
Within a day.
Within some hours, about 4 hours. If you send the BOE on the GSNet platform, within some hours you should get it.
You should get it. But
yes.
right now, what's happening? What's the situation right now? When you send it, how long does it take for you to get it?
Now, I think it's because of, you see, there's a problem, the technical problem relating to the matching of the manifest. Because they are doing virtually, what do you call it, manual matching.
Okay.
So the declarer must match with the manifest. But it used to be done electronically. So what the problem now is, they have to work, ICUMS has to work with the shipping lines to properly integrate it, properly automate it, so that when the vessel, when they send a manifest to ICUMS system and an agent is doing BOE, it can easily match and custom can easily come out with the values. So it's about integration, I think, and then proper automation of the ICUMS system that we are looking forward from now.
Integration and proper automation.
Yes, so they have to give us update. Okay, we'll be able to successfully integrate our system with the shipping lines. We'll be able to receive manifests from the shipping lines and put it into our system, and our system now, if you do BOE, automatically epict. Okay. If duties, when you send for values, the values get to you, there's a button where you see the duty, it's okay, I accept the value or I reject the value. People, what we are getting is that button too is not populating. And of course, the worst now too is the PIN numbers that people, because you know, GSNet has a contract with the government. So if you are going to, if you have a company today, or if you want to register a company today, and you get to register general, first thing you have to get the TIN. The TIN is being produced through the GSNet system. Okay. So I don't know whether they have, ICUM also have a way of generating TIN numbers or not, because what has happened is that those who have previous TIN numbers were having problems. In the
because what, the TIN wasn't being accepted.
The TIN, you pay your duty. You pay your duty according to you use the TIN number to pay the duty.
To pay the duty, and he said that those who have the TIN are not getting through the system because why?
They were having a problem, and I'm sure if Novan is still on the line, he'll be able to explain to you how far they work with the TIN.
Let me get that clarification, Novan. He's talking about properly integrating the system with the shipping lines, etc., and terminals, and then automating that. But first of all, explain to us what happened with the TIN numbers. Why is it that people who have worked previously with people who had TIN numbers that they had previously worked with are unable to, you know, or are facing problems trying to use the same TIN number to process their documents?
Gifty, I think when it comes to the issue of the TIN, I can assure Mr. Ngobe that that has been resolved. And then there are some few also that there are challenges.
I just want to understand, Mr. Hayford, what happened? Why was it giving them problems, and how has it been resolved? Just so we understand. That is what I'm saying, that, I mean, if we want to look at the challenges, we've moved on from there, and then we've got into, you know, the stage where that has been resolved. And in fact, this happened last week, and I'm saying that there might be some few people who are still, or may be having challenges with the TIN numbers, and that is also being looked at. These are systems, and you cannot tell what can happen at any point in time. You can have system downtimes and all that. And so when it comes to the TIN issue, that has been looked at and is, you know, being worked on. And I know that largely a lot of them have been worked on. Because remember that if you don't put your TIN for it to populate, you can't even continue and do your BOE and the rest. And I think that he himself has mentioned to us that, of course, now we've been able to, people are able to do their BOEs. The other challenge which he raised and which I've listened to him had to do with the fact that they want updates on how many BOEs have gone through or have been processed in the system. And that was what I was talking about, the CTSB, which is the Customs Technical Support Bureau. And this is the place where valuations and all those things are done. In fact, there was a huge backlog. A lot have been put in the system, and they have been working, I mean, around the clock. Okay, let him make the point.
We are working very hard to ensure that most of these can come out and allow importers to be able to move on and go and do the payments. So I can assure him that the updates that he's looking for, let me just say to Mr. Awungobet, the update he's looking for has been noted, and obviously we will try and make sure that people are updated on what is happening.
I think that he had a quick intervention on that. Has that been answered in terms of...
Ivan, I'm sure you are very much aware that with the new system, we are going to go away from compliance.
Yes.
So if you are saying CSTB, you are still talking of compliance. Am I right? Classification evaluation. We are going out of that.
No, but you know that obviously the systems also have some human interventions, which includes the customs people still being able to check. You understand, in the system when you do your BOEs, so that's how come you'll be able to accept the values or you decline the values.
That's classification, but compliance is not going to be. It's not part of your system, isn't it?
I think that when I said what they are doing, if I made a statement that is wrong, please I will say that okay, I take that back. But then you know very well that valuations will be checked by the customs officials, and then when it comes and they tell you that, okay, this is the duties that you're going to pay. What will happen is that you either accept or reject, and it moves to the next stage. If you accept, then you move on to go and do your payment. If you don't accept, then what happens is that we go to the next stage where the next officer would also take a look at it and then get back to you on that. So I mean, just as you're saying, these BOEs, and I can assure you, Mr. Awungobet, that what you've asked for in terms of trying to get the update daily, why not? Since you've raised this, I'm going to talk to the my bosses, people who are working on the ICOMs. We'll make sure that all these updates will come daily so that at least we all will be on the same page.
Okay, great way to use that feedback. But he raised also a concern about properly automating and integrating the systems.
With the terminals and MPS and then the shipping lines.
And all of that, so that there's a seamless, way of doing their work. It flows naturally. How about that?
Okay, so we are integrated with all these terminals, and I think that Mr. Awungobet mentioned that prior to the first, a lot of people had processed their BOEs in the old system, and it meant that since that system has gone off, that is why there are challenges in some of our brothers and sisters unable to clear their goods, or they are facing challenges in clearing all that. In fact, there is a letter that was written by the sector commander, which is Mr. Joseph Eduche. And if you permit me, I'll just go through quickly.
If you can just take the relevant sentence.
Portions of the letter, of that letter. It's a very short letter. So
yes,
it says that the sector's commander's attention has been drawn to the frustrations faced by clients at some shipping lines in respect to the release of their cargoes. Please kindly inform your members to go ahead to release cargoes and then send email to info.icoms.gra.gov.gh. This directive applies to only the GCNet BOE. So that is because, the data, when it was shut, we don't have that data. And of course, it meant that, some other means had to be looked at in making sure that people can clear their goods. Obviously, I do admit that might process that might have a challenge on the system where it might not go as fast as it has to be. But I can assure you that when we are able to move from this phase and we clear all those BOEs, which had gone through the old system, then with this new system that we have, people will be able to go through the end-to-end system and be able to clear their goods as far as, in the shortest possible time as they have to. This is a new system. Challenges will come. I want to plead with all clearing agents, importers and exporters, that you may have to bear with us. We are doing all we can. We're working around the clock, day in and day out, during the day, in the evenings. The technical teams are working. All the challenges that they've raised daily are being looked at. And of course, I'm sure that by the close of this week, whilst we're going into the next week, all the challenges that are being raised and the very issues they are pointing out, which will help make their work easier, will be resolved.
Very well.
To ensure that
you've made that point about 6 times already, so I appreciate that. From a PR's perspective, you'd have to. But I just have a quick one I want to put in before I take Mr. Awungobet's final word. We learned yesterday, for most of the newspapers reported, that ICOMS rakes in over 177 million cedis at the Tema port. It says that we made 177 million. How different is the amount from what we would have made previously from the other system? And of course, how did you make this money? How did ICOMS make this money?
Gifty, I think that this is data that has been put out there, and people clear goods at the port. And you're talking of imports. You are not separating others from the other. Okay. So the whatever kind of import, and we know that at the port, some people pay 500,000, 700,000, sometimes 1 million, depending on which products you are bringing in. So this has to do, and you, in that same story, if you recall, you also saw the fact that over 4,700 BOEs had been processed. And when I say processed, it means that they have been processed. It's now that the agents are going to get these and then go and do payment. Okay. And so this is data that is available that can be shared. You know, I'm sure that when Mr. Awungobed wants to see the data, why not? It can be shared. All right,
I'll look forward to that. And thank you very much for joining us, Novan Akwahetha. There he's a PR manager for Ghana Link Network. Thank you. Mr. Awungobed, your final words as we move on.
Gipti, Novan is appealing to us, noted. But the point here is that the mortgages and rent will the government absorb it, because the government should learn a lesson from. On the 28th, 29th, 30th of April, we all saw this, and the importers at the end of the day, we asked questions. Who was going to pay the mortgages? The Minister of Trade.
Delays caused by
at that time, that's the first changeover. Yeah. The government, Minister of Trade promised that they were going to come back to us. They never came back. Then the second directive came again. Now people have gone to do mortgages for 4 or 5 days for the past week, and then this week too we are in the week. I can tell you that they are trying their best, but the mortgage and the rent is what we are looking at.
So that's
because
where the conversation is at the moment.
That's going to be the cost buried to the final consumer. And indeed, they should not be using this data, because 1 week, we cannot use, for me, I've told all the media houses, I cannot use 1 week to say Unipass has been successful. It can never. And so these figures that they are putting out there, if I were to be them, I would rather be talking to stakeholders like me, how they are trying to, within this week and next week, how robust the system will be, than to tell them that 4,000 had gone through 177 million Ghana cedis has been raked from the port, when we have the problems in the port. So please, Novan, if you have the opportunity and your management, make sure that at least try to tell us how far, what is 60% being processed, and then you take over the port completely, or you still have a challenge. Talk to us about your challenges, and don't talk to us about the success. We will come to talk about the success, because we are the users, we are the key stakeholders, so we should be able to come and talk about your success.
Thank you. Samson Awungobed is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association. They're helping us with that information from the ports. That story is also on myjoyonline.com. If you're a concerned member of that association, you want to take a look at that story. Thank you very much for coming once again.
Thank you very much.
Cardi is up next with Showbiz.
You could see
this is the flat markings. The flat markings.
I was told around 1 a.m. The whole place, the compound, you couldn't have even come. I got here around 4 o'clock. I couldn't even enter with my car. I need to park outside and walk. I walked through and climbed the wall before I even got inside. So now, due to what we have been trying to do, you could see the reduction of the flood. You can see the reduction of the flood.
So this is the mission house.
This is the mission house. This is our toilet, the convenience place, and this is the mission house. This is our offices. But we can't even take anything.
Okay, I didn't know would want to get into this. Okay, so
these are our items that are in the office. These are those that are living in the mission house. Their personal belongings. Apostle Co recording studio is here. And we have online radio is our system. Everything. We can't even take anything.
So why is the recording studio? The recording studio is just around this place, right?
Yes, the recording studio is here.
Okay.
What?
Okay. So they're still let's just stand here. They're still working there. But I understand that the wall that was destroyed is just around this place.
Just the corner there. You can't park there. It's very. Let's try to.
Okay, so let's.
Offices.
Okay.
And you could see. We are now trying. They have worked since around 2 a.m., they have started working.
So these are our offices?
Yeah, these are our offices.
All the chairs in here have been destroyed?
Everything you could see. These are our offices. Our offices. You see, administrator's office are there. There's don't worry. Yeah. So you could see it was awesome. It's a very, very terrible, very terrible. I don't know how I would describe it, but it has really caused us. It has really caused us. It has really our dog. No.
Maxwell Agbagba there from Achimota, where a church is counting its own loss as well. Kojo Yankson is standing by at the Ordona for us to give us an update of what has happened after Roland Walker went there. Kojo, tell us, what can you report?
Gifty, I've got to say I absolutely had to come out here and see for myself the extent of damage here in Ordona. Now, I want to show you the specific spot that I'm at. So, if you have a look, we're just across the road from the Ordona Medical Center, which is the clinic in the Ordona community. It's right next to the Mutual Insurance Group's office. And you can see that I'm standing in front of a green and gray building that houses some shops. There's a gutter just behind me. Now, I want to show you this gutter was completely full of water. It was overspilling and overflowing all over the community, according to the residents. And you can see some remnants of the rubbish and debris that this gutter, this water brought to this area. Now, if you look around, this is normally a taxi rank where people pick up vehicles to take them into other parts of the city. But you can see right here the true extent of the damage that this water has done. If you look just across here, this kiosk used to stand somewhere there. And according to the residents, it was the rain that washed it all the way here and threw it against this taxi. This is somebody's livelihood that has been washed away in the rain overnight. That taxi is another person's livelihood, which is no longer functioning this morning. Somebody is going to go hungry today because a little bit of rain fell last night, and again our city could not cope. People are trying to pick up the pieces. You can see just across here some people who have gone to fetch their kiosk from wherever it blew to. Let's see if we can find out. Was this damaged by the rain?
This side. Ordona inside one area
So he's telling us that this kiosk used to be in that clearing over there, but the rain blew it all the way across the community to the other end, the far end, and they needed a truck to go pick it up and bring it back. This is the extent of the damage. All right, and you can see more and more evidence of it. If you come with me, I want to show you this. Now this shop, this block of shops, when we arrived here about 10 minutes ago, there was water gushing out of these two stopcocks. There was water flowing freely like a river out of these two holes. You can see. And there was water all the way, at least 6 inches of water all over this surface. And you can tell our shoes are ruined. If you have a look at the camera, my camera technician's feet, he was forced to put on slippers just so that he could access this area. Now you can only imagine the extent of damage inside. Let's see if we can find out for ourselves. Hello, good morning. Morning. Please, can you show us the damage? How bad was the damage of the water in your shop? Very busy for now. That's fine. So keep doing your work. We won't interrupt, but we want to see the damage. So there you go. Just take a look at that. If you can imagine the amount of money that it would have cost to buy all of these products, to pile them up and wait for customers, days, weeks on end for customers to come and buy them. And then in one night, rainfall can do this. You can only imagine what the shop owner is thinking right now. You can only imagine the extent of financial damage that this has caused to this businessman who is only trying to serve the needs of a community. But he wakes up one morning and rain has set him back for years and years. Now, a gentleman here, tell me, what's your name?
My name is Adisi, George Adisi.
George, so tell me, what is inside? What is it that you want to show me?
If you come, if this thing, let me see, 207. You can't see 207. Let's go there and see right now. You see it yourself.
Okay, I want to see this. We're going to go with him. So Adisi, tell me, how many years have you lived in this community?
I've lived here is almost 30 years.
30 years?
Yes.
And how many times has this community flooded?
It's almost since from Duterte disaster. The same things happened. This is the third and second time has happened. Kojo, please, we are suffering. Let's go and see. Maybe 207 and this thing, you can't see any of them.
You mean a vehicle, the Peugeot 207?
Yes, let's go. You see the disaster and you see the mark. Let's go and see. Please, let's go and see what is going on in this area.
So what are you holding? Are these your belongings?
It's I'm going to supply it. It's kenky. The small money I have, I'm going to supply it, then I'm going back again to supply more. Let's go and see the gutters. Let's go inside our house.
So we are now heading towards the large gutters that are being constructed.
Yes,
so this is the construction work.
Yes.
But I don't see any workers here.
They started, the time they started, then they didn't finish all the construction work. At here, I think they took the gutters there. Kojo, yes, let's go and see. I will take you go around and see the disaster.
Continue. I want to have a look at this construction work.
Yes.
So I want to show everybody.
Okay.
This is the gutter that is being constructed here.
Yes.
This is supposed to be the massive drainway.
Yes.
That will wash water away every time it rains.
Yes.
You can see that the construction has begun, but it certainly is not completed.
Yes.
And you can see the debris that has been hooked onto the iron rods. The iron rods that are, showing the level of construction so far. Over there, you can see an entire
Kojo Yankson there trying to understand from the perspective of the gentleman he's talking to what really is causing the problem. The gentleman believes that it is the construction works ongoing there that's actually causing the flooding problem. But we know that flooding is not new to this particular area. And so that's a given. We know that the people who live around these areas have been accused of dumping refuse in these drains over the years, and that has not changed. You saw the gentleman who was carrying the kiosk on the truck. He's saying that it was moved away from its particular standing place to another place. Now they've moved it back to the same place, and so it goes on and on. But we'll get more from Kojo Yankson and the gentleman he's speaking to, so we can understand exactly what the point he is making. He sounded rather upset with the situation. Whilst we wait for Kojo Yankson to get back to us, let's get on with Maxwell Agbagba, who is in the Achimota area. And if you're in the Achimota area, you have some some of these destruction caused your property, you want to text us as well on our WhatsApp platform we shared with the rest of the world. Hopefully you get some support from NATMO. Let's see if we can get Maxwell right now. Hello, Maxwell. Okay. Okay, Maxwell, do take over from here. Get Maxwell back on the line. We have people out there monitoring the situation. It's been raining since last night. We're actually told that it started raining at about 1 a.m. We've heard the stories of Kojoenchi, who died at Odona. Kojoenchi was electrocuted when he tried to rescue some of his property in his room. Maxwell, what do you have from your end?
A member of parliament here has been responding to some of the distress calls that he has been receiving here in this community. Another thing that we found was the rail line. We'll be showing you that shortly. The rail line here has been, disrupted. So there's some kind of interruption in rail service here. If you can see, this stretch is quite busy often, with rail activities, train activities, but that is not happening. And there's an attempt to fix the rail line. As you can see, let's get closer and speak to the representative here. Let's find out what happened to this rail line and how they are hoping to fix it so that rail service can continue. Chief, you're welcome to Joy News.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's your name?
I'm Asante Zephania.
You're the engineer here?
Yeah, the area civil engineer for Ghana Railways Accra.
Okay, area civil engineer. Okay, great. Tell us, what happened to the rail line?
Actually, this particular one, we dismantled it ourselves because we were working around this area. So we needed access routes for the trucks to cross. So they are not supposed to cross the metal, so we dismantled it ourselves. But what we realized this morning was there was an issue of a washout here. Yeah. So we did our feasibility and we realized that the water was climbing from the big drain onto the formation and washing it. So we decided to fill that side. So if you realize, I'm sure you've gone there, that place is intact. Where we filled is very intact. But then there's this issue of this culvert being silted. And just yesterday, whilst we were working here, I saw people throwing rubbish in it and burning it. So today we decided to come and clear this place, then they silt it. Unfortunately for us, the rains came yesterday evening, and then they flooded, and as you realize, it went this way, and has washed part of the work we were doing. So currently, I think we need to work on this culvert first in order to solve this problem we're having here.
Well, you also hear reports about some sections of the rail line that has been destroyed as a result of the rains. What are you doing to fix it?
Yeah, I've gone to the places, to the first overhead, and I've realized the track has been shifted a bit, but the ballast underneath has all been washed. So we need to replace the ballast, and then we take the track back to its former position. Okay. Then we need to create catchment drains along the rail line so that it will intercept all the waters coming from upline, then channel into the right culvert.
Thanks so much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
When do we hope that rail train service, will resume? When are we likely to have a resumption of train service?
We stopped running because of the coronavirus. We were running because it was the virus that made us halt services, but we will soon resume. Once we are done with this work, the train services will resume.
Okay, so clearly, from where we are, it's cloudy here. It looks like it's going to rain any moment from now. I have the Member of Parliament for Kakwe North here with me. Hussaini Issa, he's here with me. He's been going around responding to some distress calls. Sir, it's cloudy, and you can see it's about to rain again. What's the situation? You've gone around assessing the situation with us. What, in your own view, what is it like?
It's been devastating. I've been receiving distress calls from like 1 a.m. So we have also been on the ground seeing how to salvage people's properties and looking at ways to be able to sort of restore them to some humane levels by end of day. As a Member of Parliament, there are no support systems, so we also have to turn on to organizations like NADBO to come to our aid. We have been in touch with them. NADBO is somewhere in Pisama. I have been touring from Anahoma through to neighboring town to Akwitema. In certain places, the electricity lines, high tension cables are all down. So I have to stay there and ensure that the ECG is around to resolve it before I move. I've gotten here, we're still going on, and then we'll see what we can do for the people immediately, at least to put them in some humane levels by close of day. Unfortunately, it looks like it's still cloudy. From the forecast, we are going to have more rains, and so we're also telling the people to move to higher ground. So we forestall the reoccurrence of these floods.
This looks like a perennial problem, and in fact, it is a perennial problem. You are a Member of Parliament, and we talk about this almost every year. What do you think can be done? What is the permanent fix to this situation?
It's been a problem for a while now. We are finally getting a solution. You recollect that since 2007, when we started under the government of President Kufuor, when we finished the storm drains to Alajo and through Abofu, Not an inch has been continued. Even where we stopped, we see the slabs peeling off. Last November, we got funding from the World Bank, $200 million, under the Garrett project, and it's supposed to look at the Odo and all its tributaries. Unfortunately, the COVID situation actually stalled the progress of this work. Hopefully, now that we are returning to normal, we will be able to bring the Garrett project back online, and then we will be able to resolve this in the long term.
The Works and Housing Minister has been talking about subterranean drains, as a permanent fix to this. He believes that people dump, waste materials into the drains because they are open. So if we have underground drainage system, we should be able to have some level of control over the situation. What do you make of these assessments?
When it comes to the technicalities, I'm sure the engineers, the hydro engineers, mechanics, they are there to actually put solutions to it. I am not an engineer, so I can actually profess to have the solution. What I have to do as a member of parliament is to push that we have the funding available to be able to resolve the situation, so my people don't suffer from this perennial flooding. But when it comes to the technicalities and all of that, I leave to the technical people to determine how we can resolve.
So back to the constituency. So for the part which is an attitudinal, problem, we can see some squatters have built very close to the drainage system. We can see how sometimes their household, materials are dumped directly into the open drains here. What are we doing to change that so we do not have this recur anytime it rains?
It's a much bigger problem. Across, it's not unique to Okankwe North. Everywhere you go, because of our socio-economic situation, we have shacks developing all across. I think that we have to look at it as holistically and not in piecemeal. Today we are talking about Sagleme. I'm sure that if we were able to finish that affordable housing scheme, and we are able to move a lot of these people there, if we're able to make it affordable for people to have decent housing, they will move from where they are now. So it's a longer term thing that we have to look at as a nation.
But even affordable housing is not affordable.
Unfortunately, that's what we are talking now. If you're putting 1,500 units as 200 million, it makes a unit at about $130,000. That is not affordable. But if you look at the original pricing of it, it is way down. About a third of the pricing. I am sure that we can still do something within the reach of the ordinary Ghanaian worker, so we are able to move away from settlements like we have now.
Okay, but finally, before you go, many of your constituents have had their properties, destroyed. I was on the other side of the road and I saw, the destruction myself. A lot of properties literally going down the drain. Cars, personal effects, all of that. Is there any compensation in the offing? Are we looking at how we can mitigate, the effect of this flooding on the constituents, on your constituents?
Compensation, I don't know about compensation. Okay. I'm sure compensation will be paid when some forcible takeover of a property or something. But our laws, it is a bit difficult when you are in an illegal settlement and something happens. I don't know, but all of that, we are trying through NADMO to be able to get some relief items for them as soon as possible. NADMO is on the ground now, so hopefully we'll be able, like I said, put them to some humane level by close of day. So we look at a longer term solution. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Inusa Fuseni Issa, he's a member of parliament for Okankwe North, speaking to us and giving us an idea of what is happening here and the situation. He's on the ground. He's been responding to a lot of the distress calls. But let's get closer and see what is happening in this drainage system here, which is very close to Apostle Oko Hackman's church, where there's been a lot of destruction. Apostle Oko Hackman is a gospel musician, a renowned gospel musician. He has a church just about 200 meters away from this place. The rainwater actually forced his walls down, destroying it, in the process. And then they had rainwater, the flood water entering the church, destroying everything in its way. The mission house, everything completely destroyed. This drainage system is just about, it's also about 200 meters away from the church. And you can see how hours after the rains this morning, water is still, you can still, if you're listening to radio, you can hear the sound of the water gushing in here. If you can watch on TV, you can see the water. And all of this is would go through the other drain. help us. That gives us an idea of what the people living around the Odo Drain are likely to face even after this. There's still more rain. It's looking cloudy. It's looking cloudy. It's already drizzling here, and I think we would have to find a safe space.
At the Odona for us, and I've already told you to text us or WhatsApp us on what the situation is in your own neighborhood. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but let's see what messages you sent through so we can take them. If you're just joining and you haven't heard the news so far, we're told that there was a child around this area that Maxwell Agbagba went to. We don't know yet, and I'm sure that Maxwell is doing his own checks to bring us that information. What we know for sure is that one person has been bundled away, taken away in a body bag, meaning that he has died. He died from electrocution, we're told, trying to wake people up, and after that trying to salvage some of his property. Some messages here. This one says, Ghanaians are too stubborn. If we fail to abide by simple laws and instructions, nature will force us to do so. He says that why should rains that we need badly begin to destroy human beings? We throw garbage anywhere. We behave even less than other primates in the forest. Ghana should get their loins for more disaster will come upon us. Well, we pray and hope that more disaster will not come upon us. This message is coming from Kweku from Accra. Kweku sent the message in. Good morning. This one says the city authorities should have been on the flood scene early this morning to stop all things being carried away by the flood, because they were in waterways. You don't add your name. But the thing is that someone has died. It's not just about they got there in time. We're told by the military, the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, that they rescued about 80 people who were trapped in their homes. And we say a big thanks to the team that went there, led by Lieutenant Colonel Infum there, my trainer at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College back last year. Thank you very much for your intervention as well. This message said, I stayed in Odona from 2004 to 2009. The building the guy was electrocuted and never experienced, the building the guy was electrocuted in never experienced flooding. May the soul of our brother rest in peace. What happened to the Odo drainage? The earlier we, the citizen, become responsible and stop littering around building in waterways, the better for us. If we don't change from our lifestyle, Accra will continue to flood. Okay, that's a message coming in from someone who lived at the Odona. This one says, I think the government has to demolish some of the building at Accra to pave way for the flow of water when it rains. Very dicey situation there. Martin, okay, King Luther says, it appears when the floods are gone, we forget about its negative impact on us until the following years. Residents should redesign their homes and shops. From Luther in Adenta. We do more talk than action in Ghana. Okay, this one says, please, my name is Yao. Can he tell us about, okay, well, you're talking about something else. Now I'm seeing that most of you are sending messages about politics. All right, so we're essentially looking at what is happening with the flooding situation. Joy News, it says, please, I suggest you equip your reporters with raincoats. And all right, we will. We definitely will. This is an emergency that just came in this morning. Also, all right. This texter says, this is what happens every year. Flood, flood, flood. Why can't we stop pretending to be working? Until we stop this procrastination, we will always have this. Emmanuel Apam, send that from Zebula. Emmanuel, thank you for your message as well. Speaking from the point of view of disaster management specialists and in view of flooding damages each year, voters in Ghana should consider not voting for any political party with no clear line item budget and policy for disaster management in terms of natural emergencies or health emergencies. Dr. Ishmael Novan. Dr. Ishmael Novan, thank you very much for sending this message in. And I do agree with you. Now, last year, I participated in the crisis management training at the Ghana Armed Forces Command College, and this came up quite it was a big part of the conversation. There isn't clear coordination among the agencies that respond to some of these things, and I hope that that is being worked on at the moment. Collaboration with the police service, with the Ghana Armed Forces, with the NADMO, with the fire service, that is something that has been highlighted as a part of the solution to the problem. But I'm not sure if that has been well, explored over the years. So hopefully, and today we saw a great example when the Ghana Armed Forces went there. So I believe that there was a collaboration, some sort of collaboration with NADMO quickly to respond to the situation. So that's good. As we speak, it started raining again, and hopefully we hope that our teams on standby, our teams on location are keeping themselves protected. If we have anything from the ground, we'll let you know right now. But if you're walking around, if you're moving around, you have any cause to be out there, you want to stay safe. Look for higher grounds and get there if you are on a lower ground. If you're driving, you want to park and you want to continue the journey when the rain subsides as well. Okay, let's see what more of you, keep sending your messages, but do not call the line. Dr. Ishmael, thank you for that message that you sent as well. This message is from Kumasi, says thank you for your accurate news. Good morning, this message says, I think we should bring back Sama Sama again. Ghanaians are so hard to control. Sheikh Ahmed Ladan sent this message from Medina. Sheikh, thank you. And I hope that in Medina as well, you're keeping safe and you're alerting people who probably haven't gotten out of home yet to stay safe and to be a bit more careful. So you have our number there, right there on the screen. Do send us some messages. Tell us what the situation is. Where you are at the moment. Let's get to Kojo Yangsen. Kojo Yangsen is joining me on Zoom with more. Hello, Kojo.
Hi, Gifty. We are overcoming our technical difficulties to continue bringing you this live coverage. Now, the clouds are starting to gather, which means it's going to rain yet again. Now, unlike what would be normal to any community, the advent of rain simply meaning that you have to put on a sweater and sit comfortably in a chair at home until the rain stops. Here, the advent of rain is the advent of fear, because it could result in death. People die when it rains in Odona. Let me show you this. This gutter here, this is supposed to be the solution to the problem. Since last year, when the government of Ghana received money from the World Bank to fix this drain, this storm drain, so that when it rains, the water will flow out of this community and cause no harm. This project has been abandoned for some time now, according to the residents in the community. And you can see the lack of the state of disrepair that it is in. You can see the debris that has been washed in the last rainfall and is gathering here. Now, I want to introduce you to a gentleman. He came up to us earlier. What's your name? George lives in this community, and George wants to show us the real damage. He says that what we are looking at here is nowhere near reality. So George, lead the way. We want to follow and find out the extent of the damage in this community. Now, how long have you lived here, George? 35 years. Okay, now during this time, how many times has your community flooded? It's always. The government ordered the contractor to repair the gutter. We did it. The federal yes. Rain is coming, so I want us to go up ahead. So please, let's go up ahead. Sure. Right. Let's go. Let's go. Now, look. Yeah, there is so much water here that there is no doubt that whatever footwear I'm wearing is condemned. That's it. My shoes are gone. Mm. So that is the level to which the water rules, yes, right? Over there. So this watermark on the wall, this is what shows the level, yes, to which the water rules. Yes. Point it out to us, please. That is how high the water rose when it rained last night. This whole community was flooded. Come with us, let's have a look at what happened. This is your home? Yeah, this is my home. Okay, so this is George's home. And last night, the water rose to that level. What happened to the children? What did you do? How did you keep them safe? You had to take them upstairs. So this is all your property that has been damaged. Now, as we're speaking, the rain is starting to come down again. Tell me, how does that make you feel? Are you worried that there's more rain coming? You've got your property out in the open. Yes, okay. Are you worried that it will be damaged? You're worried. You're worried. Do you know how much this is going to cost you? Have you estimated the cost of this damage? If it cost me almost, because look, a billion old cities, 1 billion old cities. Right. Now, this is just one home in the community that was ravaged by the rain last night. Just one home. And the rain is coming back. Everyone here is worried. George tells us that when the rain begins, he starts to worry. Now all of his belongings are outside, already damaged. The water damage is what you're looking at right now. There is still so much water inside this home. This is what people had to endure all night, last night. Look at that bed over there. Imagine that is your resting place and the water is coming in. You can't stop it. The water can't flow away because there is no storm drain for it to flow into. So it's coming into your home and you are lying on that bed. Just imagine that. Imagine the panic. If you are a young child, this is the watermark. We've already seen it on the other building. But that is how high the water rose in this community. George, I want you to show me the rest of the damage in your community. Make no mistake, this is an annual reality for the people who live in Ordona. Now, last year, money came in. It was supposed to be the solution. But you see, because of the bad habits of citizens who continue to throw rubbish into gutters, onto the streets, and they continue to clog up the existing waterways, because of this behavior and because of the slow movement of government to install solutions and to enforce laws to regulate behavior, we continue to see these effects. Now, George, I want us to go quickly to see the rest of the damage. Look, every step I take lands me deeper into the sludge that has caked this road. The mud was washed here from elsewhere because you can see that this is an actual paved road. It's a paved road covered in mud because of the rain. Now, please, let's go quickly. Show me this damage that you want us to see. There's a vehicle. You told me about a vehicle. Take me to that before the rain begins. Look at the printer. Level. The level. So this vehicle.
Yes. You see this one? You see this one? This one is covered.
The water covered this car.
Yes.
Can you estimate how many people live in this community?
Oh, we are many.
Any idea how many?
Almost over 200. We are many. This is upstairs.
So what happened here?
Oh, this one,
The rain blew it somewhere. Can you imagine? The people of the community are still trying to rebuild their lives after the rain fell last night. Everywhere you look, there's evidence of damage.
There's no way. Unless it's still here.
Wow. I want you to come and look at this. I want you to look at this. That's somebody's home. That is somebody's home. And that is what the rain has done to it. I wish we could get closer. Let's see what we can do. Let's come around this way. I'm going to walk along this thing. All right, so we are entering this home now where the rain has done so much damage. Even getting in and out of the home is now a challenge. You have to be a tightrope walker to get through it without falling into a gutter. But look at that. Look at that. Now, let me explain to you why this is a problem. We are in the middle of a pandemic where people are being infected at scary rates every single day. Now, imagine that you are diagnosed with COVID-19 and you have to self-isolate and you live here and your home is flooded. Your mattress is wet. Your property is damaged. And you are sick. How are you going to survive? How will you make it? Will you even feel like you're a citizen who pays taxes? But that's their reality. Just a little bit of rain, one night of rain.
Isn't it?
Now, Gifty, if you're still with us, we're going to retrace our steps and go back the way we came. Back into the community. Back along the gutter, the storm drain, which is supposed to be the solution. And as we retrace our steps and we look at the damage in reverse, I want us to start asking ourselves a few questions. For example, the Fourth Republic is 28 years old. We've been in the Fourth Republic for 28 years. We've had 7 presidents, 7 people who the people of Ghana considered to be the best among us. And so they chose them to lead us. From former President Rawlings, through former President Kufuor, former President Atta Mills, former President John Dramani Mahama, and now President Akufo-Addo. 5 presidents, 7 terms of office, 5 presidents, 5 men of Ghana who we believe to be the solution to our problem. They all set up governments made up of intelligent men and women, leaders, who are supposed to solve our problems on our behalf, use our resources to solve our problems. But 28 years in, every single year, Accra gets flooded. When we're not lucky, people die. Like people died last night. 3 men electrocuted here in this community because it rained. So after 28 years, we have still not figured out how to survive a bit of rain. As a nation, we have not figured out how to prevent our capital city from flooding. What you are looking at right now is what our current president promised will be the cleanest city in Africa by the end of his term. That is what you are looking at. Accra, cleanest city in Africa after one night of rain.
Kojo Yansing coming to us from the Odona. They will be handing over to News Desk right now, but the Electricity Company of Ghana has just dropped in something. It says that it wishes to inform the general public, especially its valued customers, that the heavy rainstorm which hit parts of Accra today has caused outages within the distribution network, and so customers are to note that engineers are working assiduously to fix the problem. Customers are experiencing outages within the individual premises should contact this number. It says 0302 611 611. That's for the Electricity Company of Ghana. 0302 611 611. Or they urge you to report to the nearest ECG office or reach out to them on social media handles at ECG Official. That's ECG Official. If you're having electricity problems. So the areas that are to be affected, I'll just read them to you and then wrap up on that. Ablekuma, Agape, Bawe, SCC, Broadcasting Junction, Choice, Taifa Burkina, Oyibi, Sasabi, Ekropon Latte, Aprede, and Latte Junction. So these are the areas that are to be affected by the power outages. NX Kojo Meno will bring you more on this. It's been our coverage of the flooding caused by just a few minutes of rain this morning. Well, if you're out there, you want to be safe. My name is Gifty Andopia. I've been doing this with Roland Walker. We had Kojo Yansing joining. We had Maxwell Agbagba on the show as well. Now, NS Menu takes over with News Desk.